there is an epidemic of mass murder being committed by a virtual army of unidentified assassins. It seems to be a sudden, general explosion of mass homicide. Consistent reports from witnesses to the effect that people who acted as though they were in a kind of trance were killing and eating their victims prompted authorities to examine the bodies of several of the victims. Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered.
Incredible as they seem, are not the results of mass hysteria. First eyewitness accounts of this grisly development came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent. Officials and newsmen first discounted their eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, reports persisted. Medical examinations of some of the victims bore out the fact that they had been partially devoured. I think we have some late word that's just arriving, and I'll interrupt to bring this to you. This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact. When this emergency first began, radio and television was advising people to stay inside, behind locked doors for safety. Well, that situation has now changed. We're able to report a definite course of action. Civil defense machinery has been organized to provide rescue stations with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by armed National Guardsmen. Stay tuned to the broadcasting stations in your local area for this list of rescue stations. This list will be repeated throughout our news coverage. Look for the name of the rescue station nearest you and make your way to that location as soon as possible.
No longer seek occupancy in private residences, no matter how safe or well protected they may be.
Everybody maybe 5% of the food available in the human body.
The kind of thing.
With that small amount, the body is usually intact enough to be mobile when it revives.
What are you saying? I mean, you science.
Dummies!
You're suggesting...
Dummies!
Listen!
Dummies!
Excuse me. Listen, quiet.
One wonders whether it's worth saving. Why don't we drop bombs in all the big cities?
You're probably serious.
I'm deadly serious. What are the choices? They won't run out of food, young lady. That's the problem, you see. And they won't run out of food while we're still alive.
We can lift you out to safety. Please answer my call if you can hear me.
We've got to remain logical. We've got to. There's no choice. It has to be. It's that or the end.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Great times, great beer. They go together. And there's no better beer for great times than Iron City. Pour a glass or two of Iron City. Watch it come alive with millions of tiny bouncing bubbles that give you a foaming thick head that holds and holds and holds. And how about that Iron City flavor? Rich, robust, delicious. It's the result of over a century of brewing experience. So get with Iron City when you want to make your great times just a little better. You're ahead with Iron City, the beer drinker's beer.
Hey, it's Greg Nicotero. You are, or if you're not, should be watching Alpha Romero on YouTube.
We're live. Thank you very much, Greg. I appreciate it. What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday night to you all. I am back once again. You can't get rid of me. I'm like a bad case of the crabs or something. It's like you itch and itch and itch and scratch and scratch and scratch and I always come back. I always come back. If George taught us anything, it's that they always come back. But how's everybody doing out there? I don't know what the hell. That was a weird intro, but what's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well out there. Yeah, it's been a hot weekend here in Indiana. It's been about 95 degrees. It's felt upwards of 105 degrees at some points over the weekend. So I've spent most of my weekend in the pool and just trying to stay cool. In the pool, trying to stay cool. You know what they say, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. But hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're a little cooler up north. Hope it's not too hot down south. And we're all here to hang out and talk Romero. And tonight I have a pretty fun little game, I guess you can call it. It's a game. It's a tier list. It's one of the tier lists like that you can do on Tier Maker. I've been wanting to do this one for a while, and coming off a Living Dead weekend, and you see everybody's cool shit that they're getting signed, posters, and all this stuff, and it was like now's the time. We're all trying to come down off of the post Living Dead weekend hangover, and I was like, well, what would be a fun stream to do tonight? So tonight we're gonna rank Romero movie posters, the original one sheets of all kinds from all over the world. Not all of them. I couldn't. We'd be here for days trying to. If we tried to go through every single poster that ever existed. But I got. I think I got like 30. A nice little mix of 30 from all of George's films. So we're gonna try to rank those tonight and see if we can narrow it down. I got the 4 different categories. I think are so Hang It in the Louvre would be. It's a masterpiece. It's a work of art. Hang it in the Louvre. And then there's, what's the other 3 categories that we're going to do? Hang in the Louvre, frame it, where it's a beautiful, beautiful poster you want to frame, put on your wall, and protect it from the elements. And let's see, the other 2, we got Hang in the Louvre, frame it. I don't know. I just did this earlier today, so I'm trying to remember. Tack it up, I think, is one where it's a nice poster you would probably just tack up on the wall just for decorations, if you're in your dorm or whatever back in the day. And then the other one's just roll it up. It ain't worth a shit. Like, it'd be cool. It's nice to own, but just keep it rolled up. Put away in the corner somewhere, kind of like I do. So yeah, that'll be fun. Kind of go through those. I want to get you guys' opinions on these poster, and I want to look at it as just kind of like the poster art itself, not so much the movies. We can discuss, how well the poster represents the film, and if it would be like if you saw it at a theater, if you saw the poster hanging up at a theater, is that something you would go to see type of thing? But I just want to base it, on the merits of the art itself and how iconic it is, or how well made it is. So yeah, I don't know. I just want to do something for Romero posters tonight, so that's what we're gonna do. Let's see who we got in the chat so far. We got Synth Addict. What's going on, man? Says, hey all, lurking while driving around. Very cool. Be careful. Don't keep your eye on the road, sir. Don't keep your eyes on me. Just listen if you must. But appreciate you always being in here, my man. We got Bonnie Bailey in the house. Says, good evening. Good evening, Bonnie. How are you? Hope you're doing well. We got Brett. 1911 Guitar Dude, Brett Aitken. I saw you commented earlier on an old video that I did years ago. It's funny to say that now, years ago. It's like I've been doing this forever and a day. But one of the first early videos I ever did was when that Knight Riders vinyl came out from Scareflare Records. It was a little review of that. And yeah, I mean, you were talking about listening to it earlier, and to me, it's like I love the Martin score. I love Donald Rubinstein's score for Martin. Don't get me wrong about that, but the Knight Rider score is pretty perfect. To me, that's Donald Rubinstein's masterpiece, and that release, that Scareflare release, was pretty fantastic. Just the artwork and the little insert that comes with it. Like, there was a lot to love about that release. I don't know if Scare Flare is still doing anything in the future or not. I've heard some different stuff from people that would kind of know. My buddy Ryan Atkins, we were hanging out at Living Dead Weekend. He's friends with I think the guy that's in charge of Scare Flare, I think. And I think that guy is now working with Terror Vision, I believe, is what he said. So I don't know if we're going to get anything from Scare Flare anytime soon or in the near future. So I'm glad that we got the Night Riders release that we did from them while they were still, still up and active, I guess. But yeah, good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. We got Stephen Ustrak Jr.'s in the house. Howdy, campers. Howdy, Stephen. How are you? We got the man himself, John Vulo, is in the house. What's up, John? Good to see John as always. Glad you're in here. And I was actually watching that, I think it's on another one of your channels, but the Alan Holdsworth, like that 5-hour long breakdown of like everything he's ever. I'm just sitting there watching that. I don't know anything about this guy's music. I've never really listened to it, but I'm like watching it and like listening to you break it down, and I'm just like, John Vula, like you are like a borderline genius or something. Just the fact that you even did that. So I gotta and what you're doing now with Image 10 and for Night of the Living Dead and all that. I mean, it's just like you're I don't want to use the word genius, but I do think you have some very genius qualities about you. So that's a huge compliment to you, sir. I'm always glad that you're. It's always nice to know that a genius is kind of watching you and kind of respecting what you say. So I appreciate that, man. But always good to have you, man. Since says those damn unknown assassins, aka ghouls. Yeah, I love that term, the unknown assassins. Which I guess, I mean, like at the time, it's like, what else would they have been? I guess just people wandering around killing people for no reason. They didn't know at the time. They had no idea. But that'd be a funny T-shirt actually. Unknown assassins. Just a shirt that says unknown assassin. Maybe in like the night font or something. Jeff, what's going on, man? Jeff Down is up. Says hello, fellow Living Dead fans. What's up, Jeff? How are you? Hope you're doing well. And speaking of the man himself, Mr. Matt Landrum is in the house. And if you guys enjoyed that drone footage that we showed last week on the show when I had Matt on and everybody for the post Living Dead Weekend roundtable, I definitely highly recommend checking out Matt's channel at Lando Landrum. He's starting up, as you can see, his new icon there, the Drone of the Dead. It's going to be like a video series of various filming locations. He just put up another one earlier this week for the Monroeville Mall, for some drone footage of like the roof of the Monroeville Mall and the outside, and it's really fucking cool. And I believe you just got a brand new drone, so you're all set to go. Your old one kind of shit the bed, but I guess it kind of worked out for us in the end. But so yeah, make sure you're going to Matt's channel at Lando Landrum. It's got the Drone of the Dead series that he's going to be doing going forward, and I'm really curious and really excited to see what you got coming out, man. I know you've been talking about wanting to do something with your channel for a while, and I think this is a pretty damn cool idea. So yeah, everybody check that out. Make sure you're subscribed to Matt's channel, and I want to give Matt a quick shout out too while I got you put up here. So Matt actually got this in the mail earlier this week. Actually sent this to me, and if nobody knows what this is, I mean, I don't blame you, but it's part of the turnstile from There's Always Vanilla that Matt took. He was able to kind of make it look nice, and it feels nice. It's not as rusted and beat up as it was, but it's really cool to have. I'm glad I have a piece of that. I'm glad you were smart enough to think of taking something like that. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Matt. He also sent some other little goodies here I wanted to show off. A little Monroeville Mall sticker, which I thought was pretty badass and pretty apropos for, our matching tattoos and whatnot. Then the Box Arco Pitcairn sticker. Love that, because that's... And I believe, if I'm guessing you got these from Norman when you met Norman, England, a couple months back. Because I think he was selling these or had these made or whatever. And you guys know I'm a huge fan of the Box Arco Pitcairn zombie, as we talked about last week with or yeah, I guess it was on that stream where I bought that drawing from Dan Lowry, and then a George A. Romero Foundation Japan sticker. So very cool, and a couple other things, but I don't want to spoil it for if any of you. I don't know who he sent what, so I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But it's very, very cool stuff. Thank you very much, Matt. I really, really appreciated it. Let me see. Let me try to catch up here. Yes, sir. Dummies, dummies, dummies. We are all dummies, dummies, dummies here on a Sunday night. And speaking of, I just want to give you guys a quick cheers. Little Iron City. Still have a few. I've had a few Iron Cities this weekend in the pool, but I still have a few left. So, Stukas, what's going on, man? Grant, or as I will call you now by your shoot name. What's up, man? Good to see you as always. Is this new? Are you asking about the Iron City commercial? No, that's not a new Iron City commercial. That was a commercial that was shot by the Leighton Image and directed by Romero back in the 60s, I believe. I believe it was 60s, I'm pretty sure, when that commercial was made. Just something kind of cool, something new to throw in there. And again, it's my little way to make my plea for if anybody is working at Iron City Beer, and you want to throw me a little sponsorship, by all means, please do. As you can see, I'm using, they're 50-year-old commercials at this point, but whatever, drunk skiing, with the head that holds and holds and holds, which of mine is pretty much gone. I don't know. Maybe they've changed their recipe over the years. But yeah, nothing like a little drunk skiing. That sounds fun. Yes, sir, Little Iron City. Brett says, man, I'm grabbing an Iron City right now. I love that commercial. I know it does. It makes you want one. That's kind of the point. And it kind of shows like how good George and the boys at the Leighton Image were at their job back in the day, which is why they were getting paid the big bucks, so to speak. Brandon, what's going on, man? Brandon Salisbury's in the house. Good evening. How is everyone? I'm doing very well, sir. I hope you're doing better. Thoughts are with you, man. I know you're recently your dad just passed away, and hated to hear that. I hope you're doing all right, man. But yeah, I've been thinking of you, and I hope you're making it through. So everybody, keep Brandon in your thoughts and prayers going forward. So I know it's going through a tough time, and that's never easy. I'm lucky enough to still have my dad in here, but I couldn't imagine going through that. So definitely thinking of you, man. Since his herpes stays around, that's true. I'm kind of like herpes. I'm like a bad case of the herpes. It's like you think, it's like, oh yeah, maybe it's gone. It's like, surprise, here I am. So, but hey, it is what it is. Let's see. Yeah, John, roll it up equals any of those more modern digital-ish ones. Yeah, it's a good point. Like, that's why it's so fun to do something like this, like looking back at some of the older posters for the older Romero films, because it's just night and day. It's literally like literal pieces of art compared to the stuff you see now, which is just indistinguishable. They all kind of look the same. And I feel that way about movies in general too, for the most part nowadays. It's like, yesterday I went to see 28 Years Later, which I'll talk about here in just a little bit, my thoughts on that. But just watching the trailers and just kind of, I don't know, everything just kind of has the same feel now. Everything has, like, every horror movie looks like a horror movie. It smells like a horror movie. Every action movie looks like an action movie. And it's just like everything has the same look. It's digital. Like, nothing's shot on film anymore. There's nothing to distinguish it from anything else that's out there. And so it kind of turns me off from even wanting to like watch a lot of newer stuff, because it's just like, it just seems like something I've seen already. But yeah, I fully agree. I mean, posters, modern posters have gone to shit. I'm trying to think of like one that's come out recently, or I would say recently, within the last 20 years, maybe. It kind of caught my attention, but nothing really pops to mind. It's not like, even going back to like the 90s when you see like the Jurassic Park poster or something, like it's simple, but it's like, oh, that catches your eye. You're like, oh shit, what is that? I got to see that. Yeah, I don't know. Jeff says, Synth, yeah, keep your eye on the road, or you might have a dude following you saying, thanks for that. Yeah, really. Yeah, you're going to have that, which we have a little news, a little Creepshow 2 news. A little Creepshow. It's kind of old, but I don't know how many of you guys have heard it yet. But I guess I'll go ahead and hit on that real quick while I'm going through the chat here. But speaking of Creepshow 2, Michael Felsher, on, I believe it was his Facebook page, announced an upcoming Creepshow 2 documentary for next year called Second Helpings. So, on his label, the Red Shirt Pictures label. So I'm guessing that's going to be, and I know that there's the talk of the Arrow Video release of Creepshow 2, the 4K of Creepshow 2 that's coming out here soon. And I think it was on Dead Pit. They asked him if the new documentary was going to be a part of that, and he said no, it's going to be like a standalone, separate thing. So yeah, there's gonna. I guess it's gonna be released because he's doing his own releases now through Red Shirt Pictures. He just did Trick or Treat, and I think he has something else coming out soon. But I know he's also in the works, in the process of doing. I know he announced Fright Night 2 and Prom Night 2. I think those are going to be through Red Shirt Pictures, if I remember correctly. It could be that or Synapse. I can't 100% say. But I know he's doing releasing through his own label now, and I believe that this new Creepshow 2 documentary is going to be another release through Red Shirt Pictures. So that's exciting. Second Helpings is the name of it, and I think I want to say it's next year, or either later this year, that it's going to be coming out, because he said it's done. Like all the interviews have been done. Like everything is, pretty much wrapped up and ready to go. So that's exciting. I mean, there's been a lot of new stuff for Creepshow 2, and I think a lot of people are kind of rediscovering Creepshow 2 a lot here lately, because there's just been there was the Lee Carr Making of Creepshow 2 book that came out a couple years ago now, which he also did the Making of Day of the Dead book that you can see back there behind me. So there's been, the Making of Creepshow 2, the actual book on it. Now there's going to be like a full-length documentary that Felsher's doing. You guys know how big of a fan I am of Felsher, so I'm really looking forward to seeing this and finding out more about the film. I mean, it's very, I mean, it's written by Romero, and it's as Romero of a film as you can get without George actually directing it. So I'm a fan of Creepshow 2, and I'm excited to kind of see what he does there. But yeah, Creepshow 2 documentary. Second Helpings, because the first he did the first Creepshow documentary, Just Desserts. So I guess this is an appropriate sequel title, Second Helpings. So yeah, got that to look forward to. The new Creepshow 2 documentary from Michael Felsher and Red Shirt Pictures. It's exciting stuff. But Matt was saying, pretty sure Ryan Grayface owns Scareflare Records. He runs TerraVision and Grayface Records too. Dude has his hands in a lot of different backs. Okay, that's not the name that I'm talking about. I don't know if Radkins is in here or not, or but I can't remember what the dude's name is. But he actually used to do a podcast with my buddy Ryan. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. I could have told you if I wasn't trying to come up with it off the top of my head. But so yeah, I don't know if Scareflare's still. What they have coming in the future. I haven't really been following it, but it sounds like a lot of the attention and stuff's going to TerraVision at this point. So, Brandon says, has there been any developments about October? Well, I do know that Larry, if you took one of Larry's tours, he did break the news that there will be a show, another Living Dead weekend show in October, as well as, which he says the one in October is pretty much a done deal. There's going to be one in June next year, which will possibly looks like it might be the last one, kind of, the end all be all farewell to the mall type of thing. And I don't know if that one's like signed, sealed, and delivered yet. I don't know if all the T's are crossed and the lowercase J's have been dotted on that one, but I do know that the October one is going forward and it is set to go. I don't know if Larry's in here, you can probably shed a little bit more light on what, but I do know that they have been throwing around some names that I've heard for some potential guests, and I will say that if it comes together the way that it's sounding like it might be, it's going to be a pretty cool show. It's going to be something a little different than what we're kind of used to, but from what I've been hearing, just kind of the little rumblings in the bushes, some of the names that have been bandied around and some of the ideas for, what the show's going to be. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty damn cool show, and it should be something that I think a lot of you guys would be pretty excited about. Matt Landrum especially. If that's a hint. I don't want to give anything away. It's not my place to say, but that's just a little hint. But yeah, it looks like the October show is for sure going ahead. And I think the dates, I don't want to give anything away and spread false information or anything like that, but it's looking like it'll probably be end of October is probably what they're looking at right now. So, John says, LOL, I like to keep that part separate from my Romero stuff, but thank you. Yeah, I was just kind of scrolling around and I saw it pop up and I just started watching it, and like I was 30 minutes in and I was just like, man, like I can just, like I don't know anything about any of this stuff and I really don't know what John's talking about right here, but I just love listening to John talk. Like what Will said last week when he was on, he was just like, I could just sit and listen to John talk for hours. I'm like, dude, me too. Like, I just like listening to people that know their shit talk about that shit, you know? So I'm so blessed I'll be thanked and credited into official releases this year from the artists I love, George and Alan. That's awesome, and you so deserve it, man. You really friggin' do. So, but yeah, that's really cool, man. Brandon says Matt shot some beautiful drone footage. Really love that. Yeah. Check it out, Lando Landrum at Lando Landrum. Check out Matt's YouTube channel. He's starting to put up more. Follow the Drone of the Dead series as it's coming in, and Matt visits a lot of locations, a lot of really interesting, really cool stuff. And as you guys can see, like the stuff that he shoots is beautiful. Like I told him, like the drone footage from the rooftop 247 that he shot while we were in Pittsburgh is probably some of the best looking. Like that to me, that's the best looking footage of the roof that anybody's ever done. Like from the little bit of footage that's out there from people that have been up there, I think this is the best looking stuff that you can find for that location at 247. I think it's just gorgeous, and I think it just kind of takes you there type of thing. So yeah, definitely look forward to see what else Matt has up his sleeve, for sure. What's up? PMC's Midnight Movies is in the house. What's going on, man? Hello. Are you sure it's not the Venus drone over the mall? Hey, it might have been. And it crashed on the roof of 247, and that's what started the whole fucking, the whole thing. So it kind of makes sense. Okay, so here we go. Matt says, at Drone of the Dead, change the URL. Thanks for the shout out, brother. No worries, man. So yeah, that's what it is now. At Drone of the Dead. No more Lando Landrum. Scrape that. At Drone of the Dead. I'm going to have to go back and change all the videos that you've been on in the past and update your URL. So everybody can find you. But yeah, definitely check that out. It's really cool stuff. Brett says Matt's drone footage is amazing. The Drone of the Dead name is badass too. Yeah, I agree with that. And I told him, he sent me some like mock-ups of some different stuff he was doing with like a logo for that. And I was like, dude, keep the drone, because that drone looks fucking badass. Like with the blood splatter and stuff. I was like, that's a perfect angle. I know you were always just talking about like, oh, I don't want to like feel like I'm ripping anybody off or stepping on anybody's toes or anything. I'm just like, no, like do what you want to do, man. But yeah, that logo, the drone, love that. Love the look of that drone on there. Jeff says, I recently found a postcard from the hair salon in the mall that I got back in 1987, the first time I visited the Mecca. Wow, that's really cool, man. I would love to see that, actually. That's actually really cool. Was it still the same name, under the same name that it was back in 77, 78 when they were shooting? I'm trying to think what it's like. Somebody help me. My Father's Haircut or something like that. Some really weird fucking name for a hair salon. But yeah, that's really freaking cool, man. I'd love to see that if you want to send that over to me. Send me a picture of that. Yeah, Bonnie says, sorry for your loss, Brent. Absolutely. Brandon says, I'm doing okay, man. Really appreciate the thoughts. It's been a week, but doing much better. I'm glad, man. Just hang in there. Yeah, that's got to be rough all around. Jeff says, Brandon, I lost my mom last year. My best to you. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Jeff. So it's an unfortunate aspect of part of life, I guess, But there's plenty of people out there that love and care about you guys, and you always got, like I tell people all the time, it's like people that don't know, like, that I have a YouTube channel, like people at work, they're just like, oh, what are you doing? To me, I just tell them, it's like, oh, it's like, we get together and it's like a little, it's like a movie club or something. It's like we all just get together and talk about these movies for a couple of hours every week, and we all kind of just become friends through that. So yeah, you always have people thinking about you, and always, all you guys always have somebody in your corner for sure. Brandon says, maybe that came off cold. It's been quite a week, I should say. Hey, no worries, man. You don't have to apologize for how you feel or how you want to, however you come across. Like, dude, no. Never apologize for that. You're allowed to feel however the hell you want to feel, man. PMC's Midnight Movie says the Venus probe explanation in Night of the Living Dead for the zombie invasion is the best idea. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think is like the best explanation? Because they never really settle on it in any of the Romero films. That's kind of one of the ongoing debates that people have always had over the years, is like, how did it start? And George, I think George was just like, who gives a shit, like, how it started? It just is what it is. Like, it's happening. Like, deal with it now. Like, finding out how it happened is not going to help you survive or anything like that. So I don't know. Is it something scientific? Is it supernatural? Is it literally punishment from God, as they say in Day of the Dead? I don't know. It's always open to interpretation. I think that's what makes it work so well, and still to this day I think it makes it work for people that see that movie. Sin says, remember the orange and teal poster fad? The orange and teal poster fad. What was the time period of this? I can't specifically say that I do. The orange and teal poster fad. What's the time period on that? Steven says, sorry for your loss. As long as you remember him, you'll never completely lose your dad. Yeah, that's always been my thing, because I'm not, I'm not a religious person at all, really. Like, that's like, so my idea, I've always thought the idea of heaven and hell, it's like being in hell would be to die with nobody having anything good to say about you. And you're either just forgotten, or you're like Hitler, where you're literally like nobody, when you say the name, you're just like, fuck that guy, for all eternity. But I think, people live on forever through the people that they impacted and the people they touched, and I truly believe that. I think if you're a good person and you treat others well, and you leave that legacy behind when you go, where if people are showing up at your funeral and will tell stories about you, whether it's your grandchildren or your friends or whoever, that's how you live on forever. And kind of the best light, I think, is just through the stories and all that. But yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that, Stephen. John says, absolutely, pop culture has had this stagnant homogenization since the early 2000s at least. Makes time feel like it's moving fast because nothing is distinct. I actually watched a whole video on that we've like, the theory that we've fallen into some kind of like, people always talk about the Y2K thing, like when the calendars turn into, the year 2000. It's like everything kind of lost. It's like, you think of the 60s, you can think of like a style, you can think of like the way people dress, the music, the movies. You think of the 70s, the 80s, like everything had its own distinct look and feel. And then as soon as like the 2000s hit, and I think it's probably just because of what you're saying, it's like technology and just how fast technology kind of has moved, and everything's kind of the same. And I think the advent of internet, I think people, I think we've kind of lost that unique, like every decade has kind of lost that uniqueness about it, because everything is kind of a play on something from the past now, because it's so easy to go back and live in that nostalgia. And I mean, that's what we're doing now. We're talking about, 50, 60-year-old movies at this point. And I think in doing that, I think we've kind of lost, that distinctive thing to our, particular time periods. Because, I mean, if you tell me like, oh, think, what are the 2010s like? And I'm like, I don't know, not too much different than what it's like now, or not too much different than what it was like in the 2000s. But if you think of the 90s, it's like you automatically have a certain idea of the style and the music and the movies. Yeah, I don't know, but I fully agree with that. Like, it seems like everything since, the 2000s, it's just kind of, it's like you watch a movie from now and you watch a movie from 15 years ago, or even 10 years ago. Fuck it, just say 10 years ago. Watch a movie from 10 years ago and watch a movie now. Not a lot has changed. It doesn't look that much different. It's very, very similar. But you watch a movie from 1990 and compare it to a movie from 1980, and it's like, wow, this must be like decades apart. Like, it's so different. Everything's changed. Watch a movie from 2000 to 1990, and it's completely different. But yeah, I fully agree with that, John. Yep, Jeff agrees. We got Cinephile World Order. What's going on, man? Says good everyone. Good everyone. Yes, we are. Hello, Alpha. What's up, man? Good to have you in here. Okay, here we go. Here's the correct spelling or whatever. Good evening, everyone. What's up, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. PMC Midnight Movie says, if you can make it to the beach, run fast. Don't talk smack to the black goo. That's right. That's right. The black goo. That's pretty much, I mean, that's all you can really say about it. Jeff says, Just Desserts is awesome. Yeah, it is a really great, it's pretty much the all-encompassing documentary on Creepshow. Like, I don't know how you would ever do anything other than that, unless you were able to get Stephen King to talk about Creepshow in a documentary. But that's really all. I mean, Just Desserts outside of that has pretty much everybody from George to Tom to, the actors. I mean, maybe if you got Stephen King and Ted Danson to talk about Creepshow finally, maybe that would be worth going back and revisiting. But yeah, Just Desserts is pretty much the all-encompassing documentary on the making of Creepshow for sure. What's up, Frankie G? Says Second Helpings has a 2026 release. There you go. All right. Yeah, that's the name, Brett. Sean Wheeler is the name of the guy at Scareflare that I was thinking about. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Cinephile World Order says, excited for the new Creepshow 2 doc, and Just Desserts is so satisfying and it blows by so fast when I watch it. Yeah. And I'm pretty excited to see what Creepshow 2 looks like in 4K too, the new Arrow, because Arrow always does a great job with their stuff. So I'm excited to see what they do with Creepshow 2. So I've heard some people say, like, oh, Creepshow 2 doesn't need, a 4K. Like, well, it's gonna, like, the 4K is gonna make the black goo in the pond look like shit. But I mean, it is what it is. I think probably the indie, like, old Chief Woodenhead, the rubber suit effect on that might look a little iffy, but hey, what the hell? Like, I'm curious to watch it. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Creepshow too. Okay, very cool, man. Jeff says yes. I'll scan it in and send it to you. Hey, send it on over. I appreciate it, my man. That's it. Yeah, your father's mustache. Yeah. Nobody has the balls to name their hair salon or barbershop that anymore. But that's it. If there was a place here in Evansville that was called Your Father's Mustache, I would. That's where I would go for sure. Because I am, Your Father's Mustache. It makes total sense. Hey, what's up, my lunatic 99? My condolences. Yes. How are you? Hope you're doing well. There's the man. Grande's Graveyard is in the house. If Alpha's outlook on heaven and hell is accurate, Richard Rubenstein is fucked. Well, Richard just had a birthday not too long ago, so happy belated birthday to Richard Rubenstein. I saw, which is funny, I saw John and Larry kind of going back and forth in one of the Facebook groups about Rubenstein. That's always enjoyable. But yeah, Larry posted something about Richard's birthday from a couple of weeks ago, and John and him kind of had a little back and forth. Not, angry or anything, but I mean, it is just kind of the ongoing debate about, people's opinion on Richard Rubenstein and his importance and his place in George's legacy and all that, and kind of how he is now with all of George's, the films that he has, Martin and Dawn, and what it's like dealing with him. And, but yeah, that's a good point, Alpha, to be honest with you. But like I said, I appreciate Richard, and I have all the respect in the world for him. I would just like to know more about it. I'd love to hear him talk more. I'd love to understand his fucking thought process more than anything. Like, why is he the way he is? Like, why are you the way you are? That's what I want to know. But yeah, Richard doesn't do very many interviews and really doesn't talk too much. He used to do more back in the day when, in the early days when he started working with Romero. He did quite a few interviews and some stuff in different magazines and newspapers, but you don't hear much from him anymore. John says, in Night, it's absolutely supposed to be Radiation, since that was supposed to be the only one of those movies, but I think overall George made the right call that it doesn't matter. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Night, it's pretty, although when they're talking about it in the news footage, it's like they don't want to commit to anything. It's just kind of like, so this is definitely what it is. And there's like, well, yeah, this is pretty much definitely. And then you got the military saying, well, we don't really know that for sure yet. And then you had the politicians saying, well, who knows? And that's kind of how it always is. It's even going into Day of the Dead, it's a constant battle between the scientists and the military and all that, trying to figure out like what the hell we should do. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the idea of what they wanted to go for, but I like the way that they kind of still made it ambiguous, where you really didn't know for 100% sure. Hey, what's up, Robert? Night 90 Robert is in the house, which we got some Night 90 footage a couple of weeks ago. I think I saw it on Dawn of the Disc. They officially announced that, I don't know if it's official yet, but I think this is pretty much from what I've heard, that Night 90 4K has got an October release. So look for it October of this year, 2025. Night of the Living Dead 90, directed by Tom. And there's going to be a new commentary, apparently. Savini recorded a new commentary for Night 90 as well. So that'll be really interesting to hear for this new version, especially for him to kind of explain and kind of get into kind of seeing it and kind of, because I mean, he already did the commentary on the original DVD, and I think it's on some of the Blu-rays too, but that's pretty much the only commentary that we've ever really had. And it's another one of those movies I could really use another like in-depth documentary from Felsher, and I believe that there's going to be one included on this 4K. I'm almost 100% sure, because just from what I've heard over the years from Felsher talking about that really, because I've heard him talk about or rumors of that happening, that 4K coming out for years now, for like the past 2 or 3 years, honestly. And I do know that he had spent some time in Pittsburgh working on some stuff for that, so I'm thinking that there will be either some interviews or a full-length doc. I mean, that's the thing now. A lot of these companies won't do a full-length documentary. They'll just chop it up into individual interviews, which is fine, but I still prefer just kind of the longer form, in-depth documentaries as opposed to just the individual interviews. But either way, it's going to be nice to get some new material on Night 90 and get maybe some new people talking about it that haven't really had a chance to talk about it before. I would love Paul McCullough. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Paul McCullough and his scores for all the films he's done. But I would love if they got Paul McCullough and just kind of talk to him about his time, and because I'm pretty sure he's still alive. Unless I'm just out of my mind and I'm just blanking, but I'm pretty sure Paul McCullough is still alive. But I've never really heard him talk. The only thing that I remember is from like right around the time of the Crazies. He did an interview in a magazine where he was talking about his disagreements with George and the Latent Image and all that. But yeah, you don't really hear a lot from Paul McCullough in his time, or any of the work that he's done with Russo's films or Heinzman's films, or the score for Night 90. So that would be something really really cool if they could get Paul McCullough for something on Night 90. And unless I'm just completely blank and I just completely forgot about him, I'm pretty sure Paul McCullough's still alive. But if he's not, I apologize to the McCullough family for trying to summon the dead for a bonus feature, but whatever. Hey, what's up, Ed? Ed Trader Music and Entertainment. Late, but here. No worries, man. Better late than never. Always good to have you in here, man. Hope you're doing well. I don't know, you're down. I don't know what the temperature is like down where you're at, down in Arkansas. You're a little farther south than I am, but it's been, like I said, hot as hell. I don't know if you guys can notice, but I've gotten a little sun over the past couple of days, so I'm pretty fucking cooked right now. So, There's an interesting take from Frankie G. I have more nostalgia for Creepshow 2 than 1, honestly. That's interesting. It's funny because, like, Creepshow 2, I never watched it until, a handful of years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, until I finally got around to watching it. Because to me, it was just always like, George didn't direct it, and, you never really heard a lot of people talking about it. It wasn't like one of those that, people always talk. I mean, it was one of those that was kind of forgotten after it came out, honestly. Like, growing up, nobody ever talked like, I heard people talk about Creepshow, but nobody ever talked about Creepshow 2. So then when I finally did sit down and watch it, I was like, wow, this is actually not bad. Like, it's not, to me, it's not as good as the first one. It's not as good as the original, but for a sequel that, directed by a first-time feature director, Michael Gornick. I'm a huge fan of Gornick. It's not bad. I mean, the 3 stories, it goes by so fast. It's one of those movies that you can just sit and watch, and it just feels like it took you no time at all to get through it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have that nostalgia for Creepshow 2 as much as I do the first one, just because it took me so long to finally sit down and watch it. Okay, so since talking about Orange and Teal, many posters in the late 90s and early 2000s, Cowboys and Aliens, Spider-Man 2, Bourne Identity, overused but supposedly was popular due to the high contrast ratio, skin tone pop. And then it says Orange and Teal also mimic the look of Magic Hour light. Yeah, okay, I think I kind of get what you're talking about there. Yeah, like I said, everything since like the 2000s has just kind of had the same look to it. And every trailer, my God, every trailer, like so like I said, I went to see 28 Years Later yesterday. And they play like 30 minutes trailers before the movie even starts, and it's fine, it's whatever. I just kind of zone out because every trailer looks the same. They all have the same beats. Every horror trailer looks the same. They always has the same feel. Like every trailer looks and sounds the same. It's like all these trailers are made by one person. It's just one formula. They all do the same kind of thing. Never changes. But yeah, I don't know. Everything, like I said, everything's just kind of the fucking same now. They find a formula that works, or supposedly they think works, and they just kind of go with it. But yeah, speaking of that, I did go see 28 Years Later yesterday. And it's one that I've been looking for. I mean, you guys know, if you've been watching the channel for any period of time, if you're new to the channel, 28 Years Later was #1 on my list of my favorite non-Romero zombie films. And I know people are going to say, oh, it's an infected person's film. It's not a zombie film. And I'm like, bullshit. It's a fucking zombie movie. I don't care what Danny Boyle or anybody says. Or fucking Umberto Lindsay or any of these other people was like, it's not the zombie movie. It's an infected people. No, it's a fucking zombie movie. Get over it. So I'm a huge 28 Days Later fan. I love 28 Days Later. Still to this day, when I watch that movie, when it's over, I'm just like, God, what a perfect movie, in my opinion. Just the humanity of it, the characters, the vibe of like that Danny Boyle created in that film, the look of it, it really is just apocalyptic, but at the end there's like a weird feeling of hope. I don't know. I remember seeing that. I'll put it this way. I remember seeing 28 Days Later with my dad in a theater in 2002, and walking out after the movie was over, walking out of that theater thinking, wow, I've never seen anything like that before in my life. That was amazing. I cannot wait to watch this again. I can't wait to study this movie. Love 28 Days Later. I walked out of the theater after seeing 28 Years Later thinking, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, what was that? And I'm going to be as spoiler-free as possible. It just came out, so I don't know how many of you guys have seen it yet. But if you have, let me know your opinions and your thoughts in the chat. Because I'm seriously curious. Because I've heard really good things, like Rotten Tomatoes. It's like it's in the 90s on Rotten Tomatoes. And I've heard like some of the reviews is like, oh, it's the best movie of the year and all that. I'm like, wow, okay, like maybe this is something different. It's going to be something kind of cool. But to me, it was just a fucking mess. Like, it seemed directionless. It seemed pointless. It was just... And the ending, don't get me started on the end. The end of the film was like the last 2 minutes of the film. it was like, is this some kind of joke? Like, is this some kind of like, oh wow, they're playing a joke on us now. Like, what is this? It was that bad. Like, that was my reaction to it. It was that bad. It's not all bad. It's not like the biggest piece of shit I ever saw or anything like that. But it's not 28 Days Later to me. Like, and 28 Weeks Later, I don't remember much about that movie, to be honest with you. I've seen it once in the theater when it came out, in 28 Weeks Later. And I remember thinking it was fine, like it was okay, but it didn't have that profound effect on me that the original did. There's some decent performances in this one. Ralph Fiennes is like the best, absolute best part of this. He's really good in it, really likable. He's a really, kind of likable character in a film full of unlikable fucking characters, let me tell you. All the people that, even the kid in the movie that you're supposed to be like, oh, that's the lead, that's our hero. Like, I was just like, kill this motherfucker. What an idiot. Like, kids have just gotten dumber over the years, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, just the characters, there's no character you really give two shits about like you did in the first one, like with Cillian Murphy and the relationship, like even the father, Brendan Gleeson in the original, like characters that you're not with throughout the whole film, but you become so attached to because there's some semblance of humanity. And I understand this is 28 years later, so maybe that semblance of humanity is left with a lot of these people because, the situation that they're in. But I don't know if they even, like, explained a lot of, like, why shit was the way it was. They did some of it, but, like, the whole alpha thing made no sense to me. The fat ones made no sense to me. It's like, I thought they're supposed to starve out after a while. Like, that's kind of the idea. That was the whole idea of the original. Was like, they're trying to figure out how long it's going to take for them to starve out, and it would be, 28 days is how long it takes for the infected to starve and die. I don't know. It just felt like there's one aspect of the film that I did think was inspired and I thought had a place. I felt like Danny Boyle or Alex Garland, whoever the fuck wrote this movie. I think it was Alex Garland was kind of the main writer, unless they both did it. I don't remember, but trust me, I didn't stick around for the credits. Like, after it was over, I was like, out of here. But there wasn't one aspect of this film that, and I'm not going to spoil it or tell you what it was, but there is an aspect of this film that does feel inspired. It feels like something that the filmmakers actually went through in life, and this was kind of their way of expressing and trying to get it out. And I appreciated that aspect of it. There's one character in the film that's like a Swedish soldier that's like one of the only, like, I wouldn't say likable characters, but at least he was like somewhat entertaining. Like, it brought some semblance of humanity to the story. And it was kind of like that weird, it was almost like so like these, the main characters just kind of live on an island. They're kind of isolated from, the outside world. And this kid's never seen, TV or anything like that. So the Swedish soldier that crash lands on the island is it's almost like the Terminator and John Connor dynamic, where John Connor's trying to explain to the Terminator how all this, how life works. And it's like, oh, you say hasta la vista, baby, that type of thing. So that was cute, but I mean, it lasted like 15 minutes, and then it went back into whatever the whole point of this thing was. I don't know. My general thoughts is I didn't enjoy it. I didn't care for it. I know that they're setting up for more. There's going to be more sequels to come, and I'm just kind of not. I'm out on it, I think, at this point. I love the original so much. I'm excited that there's going to be a 4K of it. I'm curious to see what that's going to look like. But in terms of just like an ongoing series of films, I think that it's run out of steam for me. There's some really shitty CGI in it that kind of drove me nuts as soon as I saw it, where it didn't need to be. It was just like CGI just because they were too lazy to actually, make it, make the effort, that type of thing. So yeah, my overall thoughts, I was not a fan of 28 Years Later. I am curious to see what you guys think about it. If any of you guys have seen this movie yet, let me see. I'm gonna skip down here. I'm gonna come back up, and just in case I missed anybody's comments from before my tirade on 28 Years Later, but I want to get you guys to say if you guys have seen it. So, because like I said, I've heard good and bad. Some people I've heard Like I know Riverman just did a video from the Revival House podcast. He did a video. I don't think he was a fan of it at all, but I've heard good reviews. I've heard bad reviews. It's just kind of. I think it's just depending on what you're expecting or what you're wanting out of a film today. But but what do you guys think? Okay, well I hope I didn't spoil too much of it, or Bonnie's saying she's going to go see it this week, hopefully. So yeah, definitely check it out. I mean, definitely give it a watch. I think some people are going to really dig it, and then some people are just not. I think it's just one of those type of films. It just depends on what you're expecting from it. Since saying same composer for 20 years later, I don't think so. Because I know the original composer was John Murphy. And then they also used some stuff from Godspeed, Godspeed, You Black Emperor, or whatever the name. They used some different stuff here and there in the original, but I don't think it's the same composer. That's the thing, a lot of the music in this one is just like that new, it's like, I think it started with like The Dark Knight. You remember in The Dark Knight when that, it was just like noise? That's mostly what the soundtrack on this one, in this film. Although at the end it does kind of, harken back to the original score at the end when it's kind of wrapping everything up. It kind of has that ding 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 ding. Kind of bring that back for the ending. And when I heard that, my ears perked up because 28 Days Later, that soundtrack is one of my all-time favorite soundtrack scores for any movie ever. Like I love that score. So that was the one part, but the rest of the soundtrack in that film is just like I'm gonna cut that part and just use that as a clip at some point, but that's what it sounds like to me. It's what it sounds like to my ears. It's just kind of noise. And then there's like that weird thing where the woman's counting, or I don't know what the hell that was. But yeah, it doesn't hold a candle to the original, in my opinion. I don't know. Some people may like fucking electronic noise, but whatever. Frankie G says, 28 Days Later made me realize even if I tried and wanted to live in that situation, I'd probably die anyway. Yeah, that's the thing. Like the 28 Days Later, it kind of like it completely reinvented the zombie genre. Like I don't care what anybody says. Every zombie movie that came after 28 Days Later owes something to 28 Days Later. I'm talking about the Dawn remake, The Walking Dead, any of that. I mean, it really, really does. Not just the fast zombie aspect of it, but just kind of the tone. Because zombie films didn't have that same dark, like hardcore dark apocalyptic tone that 28 Days Later had. But yeah, I don't know. Jeff agrees. Excuse me. Frankie says they had to purposely go for internet word of mouth and memes with those alpha zombies hanging down. Oh yeah, that's another aspect of this. And it was weird. I didn't even think about it until earlier. And somebody posted something on, I think, one of the Dead Pit Facebook pages. There's just a lot of dick. There's a lot of swinging dick in this movie, which is fine. I don't give a fuck. Like, it's just penis, whatever. But yeah, the alpha ones, they're all like giant for some reason. I don't know. I guess they got a hold of not the T virus, but what's the other virus in Resident Evil where you turn into the Nemesis or the Tyrant or something like that. I don't know. They're just all jacked up and they have like fucking 20-inch dongs and they're butt ass naked. And throughout the like half of this movie, there's a little kid being chased by a giant guy with a 20-inch dong, just swinging after him. And it didn't dawn on me until today, but I was just like, that's a little weird. That's a little weird. I don't know. I don't know if that's the thing you want to be doing in a movie now, but whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of giant dong in this movie too. That's for sure. Ed Trader says 28 years later was the Van Halen 3 album of the zombie genre. You music buffs will get the joke. Van Halen 3. I'm not a huge Van Halen guy, to be honest with you. I like some of Van Halen, but I've just never been a huge Van Halen guy. But Jeff gets it. He knows where you're going. Steven says supposedly they're making 2 more of the 28. Yeah, that's the total vibe you get by the end of this film when you're watching. You're like, okay, now there's a whole other thing going on here. Like there's no ending to it, but there's really no reason for the ending that we get. it's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it because I know it just came out and I know probably a lot of you guys haven't seen it yet. But all this shit talking aside, I do encourage you guys to check it out and let me know your thoughts on it when you do see it. Yeah, haven't seen it yet, but hope to soon, despite your rousing endorsement. Yeah, don't, you know, everybody form your own opinions and take, you know, take, because like I said, I like a lot of weird shit that nobody else likes, so, but I'm just honest about it. You know, I'll tell you straight up, like, I love Halloween Ends, and people will just look at me like I got shit pouring out of my ears or something like that, which maybe I do if I like Halloween Ends, I don't know, but, yeah, Skrillex, yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like, Synth. It's kind of, there were aspects of it that were just like, dubstep, that's what it used to be called back in the day, that's what we used to call it. Yeah, it wasn't very good in my opinion. Jeff says, thoughts on City of the Living Dead and Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Well, City of the Living Dead, so Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, I actually haven't seen in quite a few years. I just got it on DVD. I found it for real cheap on DVD, but I hadn't owned it until just buying it again here recently. I used to have the VHS, the old Anchor Bay clamshell box VHS from back in the day, which I don't know whatever happened to it. I think it's up in the attic in my parents' house somewhere in one of those boxes. Those things go for pretty good money now. But I loved it when I first saw it. I didn't know what to expect first time I saw Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things because I found that VHS for like $5 at a Kroger. And it looked like a kid's movie because the title itself kind of sounds kind of corny and kind of like a kid's movie. The cover, it looked like a bunch of kids with like the little propeller hat and all that shit. And I was just like, I don't know, this could be really terrible. Then I get home and watch it, and I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty fucking good. So I became a huge fan of it for a long time there in my teens, and then like I just haven't seen it in so long. I need to go back and revisit it. With City of the Living Dead, I love City of the Living Dead. To me, that's, you know, stylistically maybe Fulci's best film, just in terms of the look of it. The gore in it is unbelievable. I mean that goes without saying. Yeah, I'm a huge City of the Living Dead fan for sure. Gates of Hell, whatever you want to call it. The score is fantastic. So, yeah, I like both of those films for sure. Yeah, I think that's kind of where it started in it. Watchmen with the gratuitous CG dong. Yeah, with the old giant blue dong in Watchmen. What's up, Riverman? Riverman says, yeah, I saw it and hated the tone, but loved the first one. Yeah, that's my those are my thoughts. First 5 minutes was the best part. God, I'm trying to remember what the fucking first 5 minutes of the film was. Oh, with the with the Teletubbies and the little kid, yeah. Which is confusing. I mean, it all kind of wraps up. It kind of comes full circle in the end. But yeah, through the whole movie, I was just like, what was the fucking point of that to begin with? And then it's like, oh, okay, now we're going to keep going. But I will say this about the film, like, it wasn't very long. Like, usually every movie now has got to be 2.5 hours long, at least. This one, I think, is right around 90 to 100 minutes. So I was just like, perfect. It felt longer at times, but it's, you know, I was fine with it, but yeah, I think probably my favorite part of the film. Well, I wouldn't say my favorite part of it, but the one part that I actually kind of enjoy, the whole time that the Swedish soldier is you know, that added some bit of levity there to the situation and all that. I did kind of dig that. And there's one specific scene when they're meeting the doctor for the first time. The little boy's introducing him and his mom to the doctor. And I don't know why, but this tickled the absolute shit out of me in the theater. I literally laughed out loud for a minute or so, and I think people were kind of like, what is he laughing about? But there's a scene when he's introducing everybody to this doctor. And he says, I'm Spike. This is Isla. And it cuts to Isla. And it says, and this is a baby. And it cuts to the baby. And I fucking cracked up. And it wasn't supposed to be funny, I don't think. It was a very serious moment. And I'm just like, well, why did he feel the need to introduce the baby as, this is a baby? Like, oh, I didn't know what that fuck that thing was in that woman's arms, and it just cuts to a shot of the baby, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Who wrote that? Like, and this is a baby. I don't know. That fucking got me though when I saw that. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. I was really looking forward to it. I had fairly high hopes for it, but you know. But I do think that a lot of you guys will like it though. I think there's definitely some pretty cool kills in it. There's some pretty good some pretty cool stuff in it for zombie fans, but I just I don't know. It just felt a little bit of a mess to me in my opinion, but let me scroll back up here, kind of hit some of these older comments that I may have missed, and then we'll go ahead and start ranking some Romero movie posters. Bring up the tier list and kind of talk about these. John says the stuff from Night that gives it away from me is the way it spreads. It's not all the same time. It's in pockets as the radiation widens more over the country. Yeah. Well, I think in the original Night, and the idea that they kind of kill all the zombies, and it kind of like, you know, the next day it's like everything's kind of under control. I don't know. That's always the vibe that I got. That the original idea is that, oh, this is going to end after one night, and everything will kind of eventually go back to normal. Let's see. PMC says I didn't see 28 Years Later yet, but I didn't like the crazy fast-paced action in the first two, and Dawn 04 and Resident Evil Apocalypse were shot the same way, and it was annoying. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like 28 Days Later gets away with it for me because it was the first to kind of do it. Like, it kind of invented that style of zombie film, the look of it, the feel of it. When I first saw that, I had never seen anything like that before. I mean, you pretty much what the most recent zombie film before that was what? The Dead Hate the Living or something like that, you know? It's just, it was still, you know, kind of in the 80s. Like, it hadn't been updated yet to what they had done with it in 28 Days Later, but Ed Trader says Night 94K should include the Joe Bob Briggs host segments from TNT Monster Vision. Yeah, I've seen that. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know who owns the rights to that. I guess that'd be like probably a Time Warner thing, I would think, because I think they own everything from TNT, TBS. Loved it when Night 90 was on, all the Monster Vision as well. Yeah, that's a good question, something to look into. Who does own all the old Monster Vision stuff? Joe Bob Briggs back in the day. Hey, what's up, Judas Booth? That's a new name. Good to see you. Hello from Toronto. Larry told me about your channel during the mall tour at Living Dead Weekend. First time viewer. Very cool. Thanks for stopping in, checking it out. Appreciate it. I'm here every weekend talking about Romero and zombie films and horror films and anything and everything that happens to come up. So glad you're able to stop in and checking it out for the first time. Good to see you. Thank you. John says, I had heard Paul may have dementia. Okay, I think I found him, but have never bothered reaching out. Okay, I hate to hear that. Paul McCullough, I'm talking about. Yeah, and that's kind of sad. That's a guy I would love to, I don't know if he has, I doubt he would have any, like, writings or anything like that, but I would have loved to have gotten his story, you know, his time working with everybody, and his opinions on George's legacy and all that, because I know there were some contentious feelings between the two back in the early 70s, and I think it may have stemmed from the Crazies when George kind of rewrote, you know, of course he had the original screenplay for the Mad People, and then George kind of rewrote it and turned it into what it became, and I think there may have been some bad blood over that, maybe, but yeah, that's sad to hear. Jeff says, at this point, Richard really shouldn't be the gatekeeper of Romero's legacy. I met him once at Fangoria's Weekend of Horrors, and compared to George, he was really nasty to everyone. Well, there's a beautiful picture, a photo that was taken on the set of Dawn of the Dead. It's a fairly famous photo. I think I may have used it in one of the thumbnails for one of my videos back in the day. But it's a photo of him and George on the set of Dawn, and George is kind of looking back, and he's got this big smile on his face, you know, George's big smile, you know. And then beside him is Richard, and he just has this just grimace on his face as he's looking just like, what do you want? Like, and it's like the perfect, like, mixture. It's the perfect I don't know. It's like the feather and the spike type of thing, and it perfectly like captured George and Richard's relationship. Where George is, the artist and the guy. It's like George. It's sometimes you need that asshole. Like if you're too nice and you're not, the business guy, you're not ready to, to be cutthroat when you need to be cutthroat, I guess. You kind of need somebody to kind of be the asshole and kind of be the cutthroat businessman to kind of help you do what you need to do. And I think that's kind of what Richard was to George for all those years. And I think George needed that. Desperately needed somebody like that in his corner to kind of, he needed a pit bull, basically, kind of watch his back. But now, yeah, I don't know what his motivations are or why he is the way he is with the, Martin and Don and even the non-Romero stuff like Night Flyer, I think, is another one that he just will not. It's not as in demand, I'm sure, as Martin or Dawn, but I'm sure there's all these physical media companies out there that would love to do something with Night Flyer. I mean, it's a Stephen King film. I mean, there's always a market for Stephen King. But yeah, Richard's just, he's kind of difficult to deal with for whatever reason. He has his way of doing things, and it is what it is. So, but yeah, that's always an interesting and talking to Leaf Yonker at Living Dead Weekend. I mean, he was there, and he's really the only person that I know of that actually has a good working relationship with Richard now. I mean, Leaf does all the screenings. He's doing the Day of the Dead screenings. Day of the Dead's coming back to theaters this year. Leaf's kind of in charge of that. He was, all the Dawn screenings, the Dawn 3D and all that. So just hearing Leaf talk about, Leaf was just like, yeah, he's hard to deal with sometimes. Like, even with me, like, he can be just a complete asshole to me. But, he always, comes back and he's just like, yeah, sorry about that. Things got heated, but, he trusts him. So I don't know. There's, I talked to Leaf about it, at Living Dead Weekend. I'd love to get Leaf on sometime soon and I'll reach out to him and see when he's available. He said he'd be interested in doing it. So I'd love to get Leaf on sometime soon to kind of, to talk to him about Richard and his relationship, his working relationship with Richard and all that. I'd love to kind of get that firsthand experience of what it's like dealing with Richard Rubenstein on a day-to-day basis, especially when it comes to business, let's see. Okay, so now, all right, I think I'm about caught up to where I was beforehand. I think Riverman says, if you want an interesting virus outbreak movie, check out the Canadian film Pontypool. I think it's streaming on Shudder. I've heard of that before. People have brought that up before in the past. So, yeah, I've seen it on Shudder. I think I've seen it on Shudder before, but never actually watched it. That one and The Battery is one that I think Stugas is always talking about, and I've heard Grande talk about it before too, is one that's one of the better zombie films in the last decade that I need to check out. So yeah, I definitely need to check out some newer stuff. But again, it's just like, man, there's so much that I still want to see and still need to see. It's kind of hard to catch up sometimes, but all right. So before we get into the posters, ranking the Romero posters, we'll get in just a second. I wanted to give a quick acknowledgement to some news that I saw on Facebook about a week or so ago, I believe. It was 13th, I believe, is when it happened. But Paul Macaluso has passed away, another member of the Living Dead family. And if you guys are not familiar with Paul, he was in Dawn of the Dead. He was one of the guys on the rooftop with Joe Shelby and John Amplis when they come busting out. He's the guy that gets shot in the chest. And he's saying, I forget what the line is. I can't hardly even make it out, but he's like, "It's giving on the rope." And he's like, I don't know what the line is there, but that's what it sounds like. That's Paul Macaluso. And he I don't think he ever officially did any convention appearances or any Living Dead weekends. I think he did show up at the 2018 show. And and I think he signed a few autographs. Maybe I know. I think Eric Kent and maybe Larry got some signatures on their poster from him, but I don't think he did any other shows or anything like that. But it was just like the the anniversary of Dawn of the Dead at the Monroeville Mall, and I think he ended up just kind of stopping by to hang out for a while, like we talked about last week. It's a thing with the people from Dawn. It's like you don't even have to be invited as an official guest to just kind of want to come and experience it and say hi to everyone and all that. But I think that's the only time that he ever kind of stopped by or made, because I think he was living in Florida at the time when he passed. And I think he passed, I believe it was June 13th. That's when I saw the announcement, because I was friends with him on Facebook. And I saw somebody post, I guess it may have been his wife or kids or somebody post that he'd just passed away from a long battle with cancer, apparently. So I just wanted to make I believe he was 68, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong about that, but from all the information I could find, it looked like he was 68 years old when he passed. So just wanted to give a quick shout out, and for that we've lost another member of the Living Dead family, and Paul Macaluso. And I think at the time when they were filming Dawn, he was actually working at the Monroeville Mall. I think because I remember listening to an interview that he did with the guys over on the WGON radio podcast some years back. He actually did a 15-20 minute interview with them, and he was saying like, oh yeah, I worked at all kinds of stores in that mall back during that time. Like, oh man, I got stories. I could tell you stories about that mall like you wouldn't believe. So yeah, just and that interview is really cool. If you want to check it out, check out the WGON radio podcast from back in the day. You can find the Paul Macaluso interview. Yeah, just it kind of bummed me out when I saw that, and I saw Larry kind of break the news officially on some of the other Facebook groups and all that. So yeah, just wanted to give a quick mention to just kind of pay my respects to Paul Macaluso. Never got to meet him, but like I said, we were friends on Facebook, and he was one of those guys that would always like when your birthday would roll around, he would always leave you a birthday message, But yeah, just wanted to acknowledge that before we go any further. Excuse me. All right, so Synth was saying we talked about that idea that night at the fire pit. Richard was his pit bull / asshole. That was necessary to make things happen. Yeah. And reading that book, the Independent Cinema of George A. Romero, like makes you like even more so convinced that was the case, and that was necessary for George to continue with his feature filmmaking career, and yeah, George needed a guy like that in his corner, and I don't think George, not that he never was successful or anything outside of working with Richard, but I think we all kind of can agree that he did his best work with Richard. I think that's because he knew he had the guy behind him, kind of making sure everything was going as planned, while he could focus on the actual the making of the art. Excuse me. Yeah, I got to check out The Battery. I've heard good things from you. I've heard good things from Stukas. Or Grant, as I'm going to call him, because I'm going to break kayfabe here. But yeah, I'll definitely need to check out The Battery for sure. Some condolences there for Paul Macaluso. All right, are you guys ready to rank some Romero movie posters? Let me get the tier list up here. I got 30 posters to rank here, and I need you guys' input to help me, because I think I did something similar with Grande when we did our Day of the Dead retrospective show, I don't know, some months ago. God, maybe almost a year ago now, thinking about it. Let me get the tier list pulled up here. But this should be fun. This should be cool. And like I said, kind of look at it as pieces of art, more so than just the movie. Like if the movie's not any good, don't just base your opinion on the actual poster art itself. Does it look cool? Is it artistic? Whatever. So, all right. If I can figure out how to get this going here. Share screen. Make sure that looks good. Everything coming in. There we go. It's all right. So we got Hang It in the Louvre. Hang It in the Louvre. Frame It. Thumbtacks. Or Roll It Up. What should we do with these posters? Of course, Hang It in the Louvre would be your S tier. This is, you know, a complete work of art. Frame it. Beautiful poster that you want to frame. Put up in your room. Make sure nothing bad happens to it. Thumbtacks, something you can just tack up on your wall as just a little wall decoration, and then roll it up. Just roll that sumbitch up, turn it sideways, and stick it straight up your candy ass. So yeah, like I said, I think I have 30 different posters here, I believe. And we'll take a good look at each and every one of these. Will it do two at one time? All right, there we go. That'll work. So the first one up, and I kind of think this is kind of a masterpiece of a poster. It's simple. It's strange. But I love it in some way. Let me see. Is that a little... I don't know. We'll just roll with this, I guess, for now. Trying to figure out my setup here. Shit. All right, we go with this. Monkey Shines poster from 1988. Of course, you got, you know, the monkey, and I don't know. It's one of those posters that I remember seeing when I was a kid and thinking just kind of it's just weird. It definitely grabs your attention. I don't really know. It doesn't say much about the film itself. It doesn't really give anything away, but it does feel like kind of one of those iconic images. So much so, and I think it's very reminiscent. There's the Stephen King novel, which I guess they just did the movie of the monkey. I think the original cover of that novel looks a lot like this. So I think a lot of people kind of think, I think Born to Be Rad at one point thought that this was a Stephen King film. But yeah, Monkey Shines, 1988 is when this came out. So what do you guys think? Hang It in the Louvre, frame it, thumbtacks, or just roll it up, put it away. To me, I would kind of go... I don't think that it's artistically appealing enough to put as an S tier to hang it in the Louvre, so to speak. But I do kind of go, like, I'm kind of with Grande here. I'd go frame it. Actually saw one at Monster Mania for like 160. You can usually get these posters. Like, I have one. I think I paid maybe 20 for it. 160. That's pretty insane. Was there anything special about it? Was it signed by George or something? Even signed by George, I wouldn't go 160. But yeah, I'm kind of frame it on this one. Ed saying Monkey Shines, I would frame. That image is burnt into my head from seeing it at a local video store here when I was 5. Yeah, exactly. It's iconic for sure. Like, the movie itself is, you know, it's not the best movie. It's not George's masterpiece or anything. It's definitely on the lower end of my favorite Romero films. But the poster itself is pretty cool. It's memorable. It catches your attention for sure. Yeah, Jeff says the tagline should have been "You killed my Pookie." Well, it's Bogey. That's the name of the bird because he sounds just like Humphrey Bogart. But yeah, I think the actual poster. So let me see if I can go back to. I can make this a little bigger. Oh, that just made my head bigger. Because I know that at the very top there's that writing. I can't remember what the actual saying is, but. I kind of want to go back to how I had the setup a minute ago so I can see the damn thing better. Here we go. That works better. So it says, once there was a man whose... I still can't see it. Either way. It's like a little poem or something. I don't know, but we'll roll with this for now. Actually, yeah, we'll roll with this look for now. So we got a couple of frame it. Steven says I'll go with frame it for Monkey Shines. It's close to Lube, but not quite. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the movie itself's not a masterpiece, but the poster's pretty awesome. Granny says, yeah, I told the guy it was too much, and he was like, no, that's what it costs. It was in awful shape, too. It looked like someone's grandmother drop-kicked it. Guy was a clown. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, I've purchased 2 Monkey Shines posters in my life, and I don't think I've spent over $20 on either one of them, so... all right, Bonnie's saying frame it. Jeff's saying frame it. Larry, what's up, man? WGON TV says, yeah, Monkey Shines posters can be gotten very cheap and in great condition. Yeah. Like I said, I just bought one. I think it was a video store poster, but it's pretty much the same thing, but I think it was $10 maybe that I bought it for. So, yeah, 160. That guy was smoking some crack. So, all right, I think it's pretty much unanimous on Monkey Shines. Let me bring up the tier list. There we go. So, yeah, I think that's fair. We'll move Monkey Shines into Frame It. All right. All right, so next one up, we have I believe this is the Italian. This one's kind of funny. Is this Italian or Spanish? I think it's the Spanish. Night of the Living Dead poster. La Notte di Morte Vivente. Which I see that and it sounds Italian, but Italian and Spanish is pretty similar, but I believe this is the Spanish poster. And the thing about this one is it's kind of funny, and I kind of like this poster. I mean, it's a pretty cool poster. But if you look at the bottom here, let me see if I could just full screen this. If you can see it. Well, no, no, you can't see it because the thing's at the bottom. But at the bottom, the first person credited at the bottom is Randy Burr, which I think is fucking hilarious. Randy Burr is like one of the guys guys at the end that are hooking Ben, I believe. I believe that's Randy Burr. But yeah, first guy credited there: Dwayne Jones, Judith O'Dea, Keith Wayne, Marilyn Eastman. But before that, Randy Burr. So take that for what it's worth. What do you guys say about this one? I think it's a pretty cool. The artwork is pretty cool. I don't know where I would put this one. I wouldn't say that it's quite Louvre material. Definitely, I mean, it looked pretty cool framed. And I think it's kind of interesting because of I'd never noticed that until I was putting this together, but the Randy Burr credit there at the very bottom, he gets the top credit for this. What do you guys think? Granny says it's not S, but it's really nice. Frame that one too. All right. Granny says I sort of love that. I do too. Like I'm a huge sucker for foreign posters, European, Italian, Spanish, like especially the Italian stuff. I'm a huge sucker for the Italian posters. Okay, so this is what the monkey shine. Once there was a man whose prison was a chair. The man had a monkey. They made the strangest pair. Yeah, that's right. I don't know who that was marketing anything to, but whatever. But yeah, back to this one. I'm kind of with Grande. I'm kind of framed this one as well. I think it looks pretty cool. Jeff saying I agree, not as good as the first one. Yeah. Ed saying I would roll up the Spanish Night. Looks more like a cheesy 80s album cover. Yeah, I mean that's kind of one way to look at it. So we got one roll up. He said it's just like roll that sucker up and get rid of it. Put it away. Bonnie's saying frame. Okay, so we got some differing opinions here. Jeff saying love this poster. Okay. John says you're not going to mention George A. Kramer. Is that what it says on the poster? I can't see it. It's too small. Instead of George A. It's George A. Kramer. I think just for that alone, I think we got to roll this one up. The Randy Burr and the George A. Kramer. There's no way that's what the fuck that says. I got to get a better look at that. That's hilarious. I'd love to zoom in on that, but I don't know if you can. But yeah, I think just for that alone, I think we might want to roll this one up. Although the artwork, I do like the artwork. I think it's cool. But yeah, that's pretty funny. Steven says, I like the poster overall, but unless you really know your Living Dead posters, you might not even know it's a Romero. That's true. Maybe frame it and sell it for 160. Well, yeah. I haven't seen too many of these out in the wild, so I don't really know what these go for. But shit, the frame alone is worth probably 100 for a lot of these. Buying frames these days is a friggin' investment. If you want a nice frame, not one of the plastic ones that you can get at Walmart or whatever. And if you have a 27 by 41, forget about it. Those things are like $100 a piece for a decent frame. Just saying that's hilarious. So John says put it in the Louvre. Louvre for me. I love this nonsense. Okay. So we got all over. We got roll it up, frame it, put it in the Louvre. I guess I'll be the ultimate tiebreaker here. Nobody said thumbtacks. Nobody just wants to tack it up, damage it a little bit, but to have it up to look at. That's kind of what I would think is thumbtacks. Tack it up on the wall. I mean, if it damages it, whatever. But it's kind of funny to see. Just kind of funny to look at. But yeah, it's kind of all over. So I think I'll go. I think we'll just do. Let me pull up. Is it gonna work? There we go. All right, so we're gonna throw this one. I'll put it and frame it for now, but I might change my mind and just do thumbtacks. I might just thumbtack that one. All right. So up next we have the zombie poster. I believe this is a French poster, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's German. It's definitely seems French to me. Pretty sure it's the French poster. But yeah, Zombie, Dawn of the Dead, Un film de George Romero. I love this artwork. I love that the zombies are all holding their arms up, like they look like me when I'm putting on deodorant in the morning. They kind of have that arm angle going on there. But I've always kind of dug this artwork. Just the weird lookings, like of course you see. I don't know why Paul Musser is wearing a raincoat in this one, but you got your Jeannie Jeffries zombie there. You see Lenny Lee's back there, but this zombie up front, I don't know who the hell that's supposed to be. It looks a little on the racial side. I don't know what that's supposed to be. I don't know which zombie that's supposed to represent in the film. The only one that I can think of is the zombie that's down in the basement. When they're all in there feeding inside the cage, there's that one zombie that's got the arm. But like, what a random zombie! Like, that's just a random looking zombie to throw on, like, up front, like in front of all these other ones on here. So yeah, I don't know, but I like the odd, goofy artwork on this one. Oh yeah, going back to that night. Yeah, it is a nice rendition of Regis, Paul, and Sharon. Yeah, I was thinking that too. I missed. We had a vote for Scotch tape. Is this for the night, Jeff? Is this for the night poster or the zombie poster here? I don't know what you guys think. What do you guys think about this one? It's kind of weird. Like I said, I love the foreign posters and the European posters, but this one's another kind of wonky one. Since he used blue putty in the old days, not thumbtacks. Okay, easy for me to say, blue putty. Granny says I might be the odd man out here, but thumbtacks this one. Okay, thumbtacks. So this is one that's just fun to put up, but nothing you really want to preserve in a certain way. We got another thumbtacks. Bonnie says thumbtacks on this one. Jeff says have this framed. Okay, so we got one for framed. Is this Germany, Jeff? See, the throws me off there because Rene Chateau Presente seems French to me. So we got another Ed saying thumbtack this one. Steven says this is definitely thumbtack for me. This looks like it took 5 minutes to put together before the pitch meeting. It does kind of look like that, doesn't it? I appreciate the history, but not a favorite of mine. Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's a good point. It does kind of look like something somebody drew pretty quickly and threw up there. Hey, what's up, man? Eerie Guts chiming in. Colin, how are you doing, man? It's French, but shares the same art as used in German. That's right. Yeah, they've used this artwork in a couple of different posters. I actually have one over there on my ceiling that I have just specifically because I've always kind of liked this artwork. It's just so quirky and weird. I don't know. It always kind of gets me. Larry says it's French, available in 2 sizes, petite and grande. Frame it. Okay, so Larry's got a vote for frame it on this one. Yeah, is this one of those? It's like, 70 by 80 or whatever, like those giant, what do they call it? Foglio posters. Foglio, is that how you pronounce it? Now, I think I've seen the Foglio version of that. But we got quite a few thumbtack and quite a few frame it's. Let me pull up the tiers here. Since I'm a fan of this quirky ass artwork, I'll stick it and frame it. So far, we're just framing everything. We got to be more discerning. I think it's going to get a little easier to to not frame everything as we go here, but I'm going to put it and frame it because I do love that janky fucking artwork. So I can't lie. All right, next one up. The Theatrical Diary of the Dead poster. This one shouldn't take very long. What should we do with this one, guys? Now, movie aside, like I know some people aren't the biggest fans of Diary. I like Diary all right. It's not, it's not a masterpiece or anything. But I do, the poster does look pretty cool with the camera, where will you be when the end begins? A nice little tagline, I guess. It's not the worst poster. It's definitely better than the survival poster we'll talk about here in a second. This one's probably, especially since you can get this poster for fairly cheap. Although, it is kind of a rarer poster because there weren't a lot out there because Diary didn't play in a lot of theaters. It's not bad. It's not, it's not an ugly poster. It's not a terrible poster. But again, it goes back to what Synth was talking about earlier, where everything, or I think it may have been Vulo or both, all of us were talking about how everything kind of looks fucking same now. Like, it does look like something from the time period. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about the Diary of the Dead? Granny says, love the choice of words, Larry. I thought you would like the petite and grande. Granny says, frame Diary. Always liked that poster. Shoot the Dead. Yeah, I have another Diary poster on this list too, which was like the early one that, everybody saw first with that tagline on it. Jeff saying, roll it up, put it in the closet. All right, we got one roll it up, one frame it. Bonnie saying, roll it up. Granny says, how much would this one go for? I honestly don't know. Yeah, Larry's got it right here. They're dirt cheap, about $25-$30. Yeah, you see them on eBay every now and then. They're about $25-$30. Eerie Guts saying, roll it up. John says, don't even roll it up, throw it out. So I think we might have our first roll up of the night. It's in Louvre, the Diary poster. I think it's perfect. Wow. All right. Well, That's interesting. That's interesting to hear you say that, but I think the majority has spoken, and I think we're gonna have to roll this sucker up. Even though Grande and Ed loved. I mean, like I said, it's not my favorite, but it definitely could have been fucking worse. Um, This is an interesting point. Steven says this is a Walmart frame for me. I actually saw this in the theater, so I'm a little biased. I enjoyed the movie a little more than some people did. So there you go. I saw it in theaters too. That was one I was lucky enough to see in its limited run. I was lucky to be in Dallas at the time. So I do have a little bit of an affinity for this poster as well because I remember seeing it at the theater. So for me, it would probably be a tack up. I'd probably tack it up just for the memories of seeing it in the theater, but. Yeah, Larry's saying I actually like it, but roll it. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to roll this sucker up and just kind of stash it away and hey, you never know. Maybe we'll all come around on it someday. But yeah, as of now, sorry, bud. We're gonna have to roll it up. Put it away. Put it away for another day. All right. Up next we have the one sheet of Martin. This is one that I just can't find anywhere. I think Larry has two of them, I believe, if I remember correctly, because I think there's a green one and a white one out there. This is the white one. This is a fairly plain, that doesn't really give a whole lot away. I mean, it pretty much sets the tone of, like, this is an indie art house film. Like, this is, it's got the reviews up there at the top. George A. Romero's Martin. I do prefer the look of the razor blade, of course. The made in the USA razor blade with the blood dripping down. But yeah, this one's kind of a little hard to find in terms of posters. It's a pretty rare one sheet for Martin. But I don't know. What do you guys think about it? I mean, it's pretty plain. Like, it looks like an ad. Like, that's the vibe that it always gave me. They look like an ad. It looks like something from Variety from back in the day. Like, it's just an ad. Like, it doesn't have that vibe of a one-sheet poster that you would see, late 70s, even in early 70s or the 80s, But yeah, this is the one from Martin. What do we got here? What do you guys think? Grande saying Louvre for sure, no question. There we go. So we got one for the Louvre. Larry said, frame that fucker. Bonnie saying frame. Stugas is saying it's cool, but a little tame. Yeah, like I said, I've always preferred the razor blade, which is more of the VHS release, I guess. But Ed's saying roll up White Martin and donate it to Goodwill. Oh, so Ed loves Diary, doesn't like the Martin one. Yeah, I'm kind of torn on. You guys know I love Martin. But this one, like I said, is always like if I found one and in the wild, and like that's totally like that's on my list of shit to find and add to my collection for sure. But in terms of artwork, in terms of appealing to an unknowing audience of what this movie's going to be or what to expect, yeah, it is a little tame, a little I don't know. Jeff saying framed. Okay, we'll frame it. Steven says, I want to be fair because I really need to rewatch the movie again, but I love the simplicity of the design. Definitely a frame for me. Okay, so quite a few, pretty much everybody's saying frame it. Grande wants to put it in the Louvre, but I don't think it's got the artistic credibility to put it next to the Mona Lisa. You know what I mean? But I do find it interesting. All right, we're gonna pull it up. You guys are saying frame it. I think the rarity of it makes it worth framing. I definitely wouldn't fuck it up with thumbtacks. Definitely wouldn't roll it up for one because it's probably folded. Any one you get, it's probably gonna be folded. So yeah, I can't hang it in the Louvre because it just doesn't have that iconic artwork about it. But yeah, it definitely deserves to be framed for sure. So, I'm with you on that one. Hey, Robert says that Martin poster looks cool. So, and Robert hates Martin, so that's saying something. All right. So up next is the Italian Crazies poster. La Città Vera Distrutta al Alba. All Alba. That's how we say it in Kentucky, by God. Now, y'all may think I'm crazy, but I would put this one in the Louvre. I love this poster. I love most of the Crazies posters that I see. I love the U.S. poster, but this one, I don't know. There's just something about it. And I have my eye on one on eBay right now that I am just this close to pulling the trigger on. It's one of those giant Foglio posters that there's no way to fucking frame or do anything. So we couldn't frame it, for one. And I don't know. I would put it in the Louvre. Am I crazy? No pun intended. Which the actual title on this one, I looked it up once. I'm trying to remember what the hell that means, but I think it's something like the city will be destroyed by morning or something like that, if I remember correctly, if anybody knows off the top of their head. But I just love it. I mean, you got, your soldiers, pieces of the scenes. You see the city in the background there. I mean, it looks like something from another planet. It looks like a science fiction. I don't know. There's something about this poster that I absolutely love. So I would put it in the Louvre. Can you guys talk me out of it? I don't know. Stuga's saying that one rules. I'm kind of with you. Bonnie's saying frame it. Okay. Well, I don't know if we can frame it. Maybe that's going to be something we have to look into, because these Foglios are like almost impossible to find a frame to fit them in. But we'll go with it just for the concept of the game, I guess. But Bonnie's saying frame it. Granny says frame for sure. I have a shirt with that exact artwork. I mean, yeah, it's very similar to like the artwork for the American poster, for the U.S. poster. But I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, some of the artwork and stuff on the back is different. I mean, it's got a different color scheme to it. I don't know. It's a little different, but I love this one. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Robert says the background colors look menacing. Can you look more menacing? Okay. It's pretty cool. Okay, so you got a pretty cool vote. Probably tack it up. Okay. Jeff saying, wow, I've never seen this. Now that I have to find one. There goes more money. Well, maybe I should buy the one on eBay that I'm looking at right now before you get a hold of it. Okay, Larry's saying it's okay. Thumbtack for Larry. Okay, we got a couple of thumbtacks, couple of frames. Maybe I am all alone here. Ed's saying Louvre, Alba, all Alba. Some millionaire will buy it. That's right. It's okay. So Ed's with me on the Louvre. Definitely. John saying, I think the woman screaming on the bottom left is actually Bonnie Priori. Yeah, I've never known who the hell that was, but she's in like every. Is she still alive? Can we get her to a Living Dead weekend? Because she's literally in almost every Crazies poster that's out there. The U.S., this one. There you go, Larry. Somebody look into for a future Living Dead weekend. Brett's saying, dude, I'm covering a small wall with that Crazies poster if I were to get my hands on one. They're pretty big. They're pretty good sized posters. It's kind of like the Vampire poster that I got bought off Larry, actually. It's so big I don't really have anywhere to put it or anything to do with it. I can't really frame it, Steven says definitely the Louvre for sure. Not only is it a badass looking poster, but it's also a conversation piece as well, and it would look good next to a Star Wars poster. Hey, there you go. I love that. I love that argument. I'm with you. Robert says, I personally think all posters that you like and purchase should get framed. Yeah, I mean, I agree. If you buy a poster, definitely you want to frame it or roll it up or fold it up and store it. But, thumbtacking is almost kind of worse than rolling it up, actually. But okay, I've heard you guys out on this one, but I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I love it. I'm hanging it in the Louvre, by God. It's my favorite crazy. There's actually another Crazies poster that's just like a poster of like a bunch of the fuck, what are they called? The lobby cards that I think is pretty cool, but I didn't put it on this list. But I'm putting it in the Louvre. I don't care. Call me crazy if you must. Oh, okay. John says no. Bonnie died in 1989, but I talked to her sons. Okay, so there you go. There's really like nobody left from the Crazies. Unfortunately, it's so sad. Like, does anybody know anything about Lloyd Haller or Hallar, however you pronounce his name? Is he still around out there somewhere? Because that's another guy I've never heard much of anything about or heard much from. Period. So, Sin says hearing the descriptions of these posters while driving around is fun. Now I have to go back and watch the show. I'll try to describe them as best as possible. So you can kind of picture them in your head, Synth. Larry says 2 sizes on this: giant Fogly and smaller, thin. How do you pronounce that? Locandina. I'm gonna go with that. The one that I'm looking at is one of the giant Fogleys. So, but if I can find a smaller one, that would actually be kind of cool. Just so I can actually maybe get it framed and put up on the wall. Yeah, Grande says I was stoked I got to meet France in 2023. We talked Crazies and his New York City theater background. Nice guy. Yeah, Richard France is, I've met Richard once, and very cool guy, very humble guy. He's one of those guys that's just like, why do you want to talk to me? Like, what's so important about me? Like, like, why do you want my autograph? It's like, no, dude, you're fucking, you're Dr. Rausch, You're literally the voice of reason in almost every Romero film you were ever in. All right, so we got the first one in the Louvre. Call me crazy, but it is what it is, by God. Up next, the theatrical U.S. poster for Creepshow. Now, this one's pretty iconic. This image has been used a bunch of times and for a bunch of different things. But... and you guys can outvote me if you want, but I am not the biggest fan of this poster and never have been. I don't own this poster. Unless I find it really cheap, I don't really plan to own it. I think there are so many other better posters. Some we'll get to here in a minute. So many better Creepshow posters than this one, but this one just looks... it just screams, mainstream. I don't know, it just looks kind of corny to me. That's just me. And if you guys want to outvote me on this one, but me personally, I'd roll this up and just put it away and just say, oh, okay, I got a Creepshow poster, but I'm good. I don't need to. There's just not a lot going on in this poster. It's just the picture of the creep behind the ticket booth and the most fun you'll ever have being scared. Okay, cool. Love the movie, but the poster's never... is this the shit that's supposed to knock my socks off? That's what I'm saying. So, if you guys want to outvote me on this one, you can, but I've never been the biggest fan of this Creepshow poster. Grande saying people are going to hate me. I'd thumbtack it. Never was crazy on this poster. Thank you, Grande. So I know I wasn't crazy. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one too, Stu, because it kind of looks like a Halloween decoration. It really does. It does just kind of scream Grandma's Halloween decoration to me. But I don't know. That's just me. But okay. All right. John says Louvre, no questions. As does Larry. Louvre, Creepshow, love the Joanne Daly artwork. Yeah. Okay. I know it's beloved, and it's a classic horror poster from the 80s. But just me personally, I've never been crazy about this artwork. Yeah, it's kind of how I feel, Jeff. I do love this, but the other posters for Creepshow are far superior. I agree with that. And we'll look at a couple of those here in a little bit, too. One that I would put in the fucking Louvre. Robert says Louvre, Creepshow. Okay, if I'm outvoted on this, I'm outvoted. Bonnie says frame it. Ed says Frame Creepshow. It has an iconic status. Yeah, I mean, it does. It does have an iconic status for sure. But me and Grande, I guess, are alone. Grande with Thumbtack, and I'd roll it up. John and Larry. Robert says Louvre. Ed, Bonnie. They say Frame It. So it's pretty much a dead heat between Louvre and Frame. I get it. It's iconic. Steven says another one for the Louvre. This poster is so cool. If you didn't see the movie, it makes you want to see it. I respect your opinions, but I always dug this poster. Okay. Here we go. Ben, what's up, man? It's good to see you, dude. Ben's been a friend of mine for quite some time now. Found the channel a couple of years back. And I don't think I've ever seen you in a live. It's been quite a while. It says, for how colorful the movie is, the art is very drab. Perfect. Thank you. I agree with that. The red and the brown and yeah. I totally agree with that. Ben's making sense over here, guys. Listen to the man. What's up, Mark? Mark Crespo dropping in. Hi, everyone. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. But I think Ben makes a great point here. I don't want to stay on this one too long. Mark says he's sort of a horror movie fanboy. Well, welcome. You don't have to be a super horror fanboy nerd to get on here and bullshit. Everybody's welcome always. But all right, let's make a decision on this one. We've had some lube. We've had some say hanging in the Louvre. We've had some say frame it. Robert wants to go back for a recount in Louvre Diary. Yeah, well, there's another diary one coming up here in a second. So, okay, Mark saying Creepshow is his favorite horror movie. Okay. All right, just for you guys. While I do agree with Grande, I agree with Ben on this one. I will frame it. What do you guys think? Is that cool? We'll go ahead and frame this one too, just because it is iconic and, you know, it's Creepshow. We'll frame it. It's funny I got the fucking Italian Crazies posters up there in the Louvre, but I don't know. I'm just so drawn to that fucking poster for some reason. I'll tell you what. This artwork is pretty iconic. I'll throw this up here in S tier for you guys. Not my favorite. I don't love it, but it is pretty iconic. So that one was tough. That was pretty fucking tough. Steven says the drabness adds to the greatness. Okay, there you go. All right. We'll keep that aside. I don't love it, but whatever. This is a democracy. Up next, Hungry Wives. All right, guys. What are we doing with this one? So, filmed as Jack's wife, released as Hungry Wives to try to caviar in the kitchen, nothing in the bedroom. Trying to make it sound a little bit more like a softcore porno, I guess, when it came out. Didn't do much business, and nobody really went to see it. And then it wasn't until later that it was retitled Season of the Witch, but Hungry Wives. Come on, guys. What are we doing with Hungry Wives? Me personally, like, I get a kick out of it just for the history of it, I guess. The history aspect of it. But, I mean, that's just, I mean, it's a dog shit name. It has nothing to do with what the movie is. The people on the, I don't know who that's supposed to be on, like, the characters on the actual poster. I don't know who the hell that's supposed to be. This is an easy roll it up for me. Like, this one's just like, I guess for the history aspect of it, if I did own it, I would frame it and, you know, do something with it. But, because, I mean, I have other shit here that's a little weird, but this is one I would just roll up. Hey, Stezio. Well, I'm freezing up here. Stezio says, howdy, I saw Creepshow when it came out. Had both the one sheet and half sheet, as well as the vinyl soundtrack. I love it. Very cool. All right, well, like I said, that one's in the Louvre, by God. We'll put it in there. Right next to the Mona Lisa. Robert's saying, just throw out the Hungry Wives poster. There you go. No comment from Jeff. Mark said, flatly, I don't like it. Mark's just like, fuck it. I don't like it. Granny says, Joe has a t-shirt of this. Hang it in the Louvre. Okay. All right. Got one for the Louvre. I don't know I think you might be outvoted on this one, but Mark says it sucks. Stuka says thumbtacks in the locker room. Okay. I see where you're going here. I see where you're going. Larry's saying, roll it up. Roll up the Hungry Wives. I'm sure this was just embarrassing for George to see too, like when this movie came out and he, oh, you're the director of Hungry Wives. And George is just like, oh, God. So yeah, for that reason alone, it's worth just rolling up and just stashing away. It looks like a kid's doodle, says Jeff. Yeah. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Mark is not a fan of this. I hate it. Get rid of it. Set it on fire. All right. Bonnie's saying roll it up. Ed's saying frame Hungry Wives just so someone will ask, why do I have a porno movie poster on the wall? That's a good point. That's a good point. John said, don't even throw this one out. Burn it. Looks like Jack Harris's team Xerox to JCPenney's ad. That's exactly what this looks like. It looks like a shitty JCPenney's ad. Although Steven's saying, okay. Steven's saying this is a thumbtack for me. It's very 70s, which is cool, but it absolutely looks like a porno / grindhouse poster. Definite throwback, but cool for the history. Okay. Yeah, it's got to be thumbtack or just roll it up. But I think, yeah. We're going to roll this sumbitch up, throw it in the closet, and forget about it. Yeah. Not a great marketing campaign, which was a big issue with a lot of George's films in those early days. The marketing campaigns and really fucked him over on a lot of that stuff. Up next, I think this is the UK Quad Night of the Living Dead poster. I believe that's where this originated. It's got the X on it, so yeah. This is a Louvre for me. I would hang this in the Louvre. This is probably my favorite Night of the Living Dead poster. I just love the artwork on this more than anything. I don't know if it really encompasses the film quite as well as some of the other ones, but I've always been and I mean, there's it's got boobies on it. Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. But I don't know. I've always been attracted to this one. I've always kind of liked it. Mark is not a fan of Hungry Wives. Who's starring in this garbage anyhow? Jan White and Ray Lane. It's Season of the Witch, George's Season of the Witch, which was originally Jack's wife. They released it as Hungry Wives, and then re-released later Season of the Witch. But I like the film. I just don't like that poster at all, or that title. Robert says, just out of principle, Diary should not be in the same category as Hungry Wives. Well, I mean, do you guys want to go... You guys want to go back and put Diary, like maybe thumbtack it, if nothing else? I don't know. We'll go back at the end and see if we want to make any changes. Ronnie's saying thumbtack this one. Okay, thumbtack it. Mark's saying thumbtack it. Robert's saying roll it up. Oh, here we go. Stezio's saying classic, put it in the Louvre. Okay, we'll hang that one in the Louvre. Larry's saying, yep, UK Quad, never liked it much. Roll it up, says Larry. So we got quite a few roll it up. We got a couple of roll it ups, a couple of thumbtacks. I said Louvre, so a couple of Louvres. So it's kind of all over the map. This is interesting. There's no real consensus on a lot of these. It's really, that's the beautiful thing about art. It's all about, it's all subjective. Mark says he's somewhat of an artist himself. Okay, well, I'll take that into consideration when taking your vote, sir. Where can we see your work? Do you anything you want to promote? Let us know. Bonnie says thumbtacks. There we go. Jeff says quad. Got it. No space to hang it up. Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of those bigger like UK quads and shit. Ed saying borderline thumbtack or frame. Okay, so he's like right there. Stuka saying thumbtack. I think thumbtack. I think we'll have to go with that. I like it. I've always liked the art, but it doesn't seem to be too popular with you guys. Oh, Erie Guts coming in with a frame it. Okay, so we got a couple of frame it's, but I think thumbtack is probably where we're gonna end up with this one. John saying cheesy, but at least some effort was made. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely effort made to it. It's definitely artistic. I definitely wouldn't roll it up because I do think it's cool enough that you want it to be visible, as decor or whatever in your household. I mean, it's definitely, Steven says Louvre for me as well. I'm a sucker for the British quad posters. It doesn't actually represent the movie well as far as the actual stars, but the artwork and, and overall vibe makes up for what it lacks. That's how I feel. I got it. Totally with you on that. Mark says Night of the Living Dead is classic nostalgia to me. Yeah, I do love pretty much anything Night of the Living Dead, but I think I will go. This is like the Beyond meets Night of the Living Dead, but not as good as that sounds. It's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So, all right, I will go with a majority here. I think if I can get this to pop up, I think we'll add this one to our first one for the thumbtacks. This is one that's I think it looks cool. But I wouldn't roll it up. I definitely think thumbtack would be acceptable. Just have it, up on the wall somewhere as, wall decor. But, okay, so we'll throw that one in thumbtacks. I think that's fair. Fair enough. Fair enough. What else do you want? All right. Up next, the original Diary of the Dead poster. This is just kind of a promotional poster from back in the day before the film had actually come out. This is the first promotional poster for Diary of the Dead back that you would see online when you would first start hearing about George was making another zombie film called Diary of the Dead. I remember seeing this poster and thinking that George was making a movie for 10 cents, which kind of was. It was a decent budget for what it was, but this poster looks like something that some kid made in fucking Photoshop or something. This looks as this looks as bad as it could, I think. It definitely makes the actual poster for Diary of the Dead look like a fucking masterpiece for sure. But it just looks really cheap. And I just wanted to include this one because I haven't thought about this poster in years until I was Googling for this exercise. I was Googling Diary of the Dead posters, and this popped up, and I was like, oh my God, I remember seeing this thing on like Homepage of the Dead and upcominghorrormovies.com and all that shit back in the day, and thinking like, is this legit? Like, is this a real thing, or is this like going straight to DVD, dollar, the dollar bin or something? It was bad, but it does have that cool tagline at the bottom, shoot the dead, which I kind of dig that. So it gets maybe a point or two for that, but what do you got? So yeah, Grande's he's just like, roll it up, get it out of here. Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Larry says this one, the drizzling shits. Oops, wrong show. Yeah, I don't want to rip Dead Pit off with the drizzling shits. Okay, Mark saying, no, thumbtack this one. Okay, so we got a thumbtack on this one. Robert saying, I've never seen this. I don't know what to think. Yeah, like I said, it was never an official poster, but not that I know of. But this is kind of what like the promotional poster for the film when as they were filming it, and this was like the first thing that I saw when I always like when I was hearing that George was making another independent zombie film and it was going to be a first person video camera thing. I was like, oh, this is intriguing, and then I saw this poster and I was like, holy shit, this could be really really bad. So yeah, this is a roll it up for me. Yeah, John, roll this one too. Oof. Ed saying roll it, roll diary. Synth chiming in. Wow, that diary poster is ass. Yes, it is. Good point. Stukas looks like an early 2000 CD cover for an unknown rapper. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I think we're all pretty much on the same page here. But I had to include it. I figured we would be, but I had to include it. Mark saying roll it. Bonnie saying roll it. Mark says the poster is chicken shit. What chicken shit poster is this? Yeah, the idea is interesting, but done so poorly, says John. Yeah, like I said, I like the little tagline there, to shoot the dead, but yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. This is almost pretty unanimous. Jeff says roll. Stezio says roll it up. Definitely not worth wall space. Steven says this is a thumbtack for me. I actually dug the movie, but everyone has their limits. If this one got rolled up, I wouldn't put up a big fight over it. Okay, so no real battle over this one. I think we're gonna just roll this one up and stash it away. Put it right next to Hungry Wives and the actual Diary of the Dead poster. Seeing it next to the actual Diary of the Dead poster actually kind of makes me appreciate the actual Diary of the Dead poster a lot more. So maybe we'll move it. Maybe we'll move that poster up into the thumbtack territory. Yeah. That's a good way. That's a good point, Stephen. Also looks like the cover to an independent comic book company. Yeah, it really does. Bonnie says, I thought it was okay until I put my glasses on. Yeah, it's a total Monet. It looks great from a distance, but up close, it's just a big mess. Yeah. All right, next poster. We got the Bruiser poster. What do you guys think about the Bruiser poster? This is one that I've always been like. I have a like for this poster because I love Bruiser, but at the same time, the poster it just looks like a slasher movie, and I think that's what most people kind of assumed it was when they saw the poster. That it was just George Romero's slasher film, and it's not a slasher film at all. So, while I love Bruiser, and I like this poster okay, but I've never loved it, this is definitely one that I would probably roll it up. There's honestly not very many. I'm trying to think if I've seen not really no good Bruiser posters or artwork out there, honestly. There is probably my favorite, which is not an actual one sheet or poster. Let's show it here. Is this from France? This French Blu-ray release. I love this. This looks kind of cool. This would be close to. This would definitely be at least frame it for me. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot of good Bruiser material out there. So yeah, I would roll this one up too, honestly. I mean, it would be cool to have, but yeah, not a huge fan of it. What do you guys think about this one? And there's a different one later that I like a little better, but not much better, honestly. Granny saying, I love Bruiser, but that artwork stinks. Roll it. Yeah. And again, going back to just like everything kind of looks the same, digital, blah. John saying, tack it. It's okay. So we got one for the thumbtacks, one roll it up. Larry says automatic roll up of Bruiser. Oh, come on. Mark says poster is total crap. Roll it. Yeah, roll it. Bonnie says thumbtack it. Ed says roll Bruiser and smoke it, but I love the film. That's a good way to look at it. Mark says who is starring in this B movie anyhow? Jason Fleming. What's his name? Talk about him all the time. Tom Atkins is in it. Fuck, what's Milo Styles? Who plays Milo? I can't think of it off the top of my head now. Peter Stormare. Peter Stormare. Jesus Christ. Total blanking. Total blank job there. Larry says the German Bruiser poster is pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, even that one I'm not the biggest fan of. The German Bruiser poster image was used on the cover of the 4K. Yeah, I got that one coming up here in just a minute. We'll talk about it then. But yeah, even that one I'm not the biggest fan of. Robert's saying thumbtacks. Steven says, gotta unfortunately go roll it up for this one. If it wasn't for the lettering, this could be a poster for a Lifetime movie. Yeah, I mean, it does kind of give that vibe too. This poster screams straight to video to me. Straight to video. Your taste is in your ass. It's because I respect you that I can tell you that your taste is in your ass. Good pull there, Ed. Good pull. John says, oh, I didn't realize Ben Barinholtz had something to do with this one. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I never really think of that either, but yeah, that's true. All right. So now we got a good look at Bruiser here. We're going to have to roll this one up because I've never been a big fan of that poster. Like I said, I think it just confused the audience more than anything for people to think like, oh, you know, it's a slasher. It's George Romero's slasher film. And then when they watched it, I think that's why a lot of people hated it when they first saw it. Not that it's like beloved now or anything, but I think a lot of people were disappointed when they saw it because they were expecting something completely different because you see that poster and you think like, oh, it's a fucking stalk and slash movie. And it's just not. It's something completely different. All right, rolled that one up. What do we got next? Two Evil Eyes. And you guys know I'm not a fan of Two Evil Eyes, like the movie. Poster, I mean, it's fine. Which Two Evil Eyes really didn't have much of a theatrical run when it was first released. It was more literally like a straight, as close to a straight to video release as you could get with actually playing the theater as well. So. Yeah, kind of with you guys on this one. Roll it. John says, John, poor effort. Larry says, roll it. It's just weird. Stuka says, meh. Grande says, hate the movie, but the poster is good. I'd still roll it. That movie is the biggest letdown ever. Mark saying, oh, hell fucking no, poster sucks. Roll it. There we go. Stezio says, Eyes, played the film at my theater. Poster's better than the film. Okay, I mean, I ain't saying much, because, yeah. Yeah, there's not, I actually own this poster, too, and it is literally rolled up in a corner somewhere, and I haven't brought it out in years. Robert's saying, thumbtack it. Nah. It's saying, Evil Eyes keep on rolling with the changes. No, this one didn't keep rolling at all. Yeah, roll it. Bonnie says roll it. Jeff says roll it. All right, we're rolling this sucker up. We ain't going to spend too much time on Two Evil Eyes around here. You guys know me. So, yeah, we'll go ahead. Roll it on up. Put it right there next to Bruiser. All right, here we go. Dawn of the Dead, which I think this one's actually like one of the reproduction posters, but, you know, the original theatrical look with the red lettering and all that for Dawn of the Dead. What do you guys think? Throwing this one in the Louvre, framing it up, tacking it up. What are we doing with this one? This is, I mean, it's an iconic poster. To kind of break it down and kind of look at it, though, and it's such a weird poster. It's so different than anything else. I've always felt that way about the Dawn of the Dead posters, that whether it's this one or the Green Letter, or it's so different than almost any other poster of a horror film or any kind of film like it. Because I mean, you think of like Halloween, it's the black, and you got the the pumpkin and the knife, and um, everything in the '80s, everything. You when I think of the '80s, I think of like Maniac and just like the gratuitous gore and trying to draw you into the theater by thinking you're gonna see like the most violent gore fest, tits a flying everywhere type of film. And this is so simple and so effective and so intriguing when you see it. It's just the head rising like the sun with the black at the bottom and Dawn of the Dead. I mean, I've always felt that this poster was something so different than any other horror poster at the time or since. I mean, you talk about everything looking the same now. If I saw a movie come out in the theater and there was a poster outside the theater that looked like this for a modern film, like that would make me want to fucking see it. Um, so yeah, I mean, this is just a one of a kind type of poster in my opinion. But what are you guys thinking? Are we obviously it's either going in the Louvre or we're just gonna frame this one. Mark says poster looks like something a kindergartner made. Yeah, I mean, okay, if that's the way you want to look at it. I kind of get what you're saying, though. I do. Grande says Louvre. All right. Steven says, actually enjoyed the movie more than you did, but sadly, okay, I think you're talking about Two Evil Eyes. Yeah, put me in the Roll It Up group. Looks like from the Dollar Video Store back in the day. Yeah, pretty much. Mark says, frame it. We got Larry says, Louvre, although I may love the 16mm one slightly better. Yeah, that one may be coming up. But yeah, put it in the Louvre. I mean, it's iconic. Stezio saying, frame it. Okay. I like this one, John. Don't even put it in the Louvre. Print it on our currency. How awesome would that be? And just a completely backwards thing to do, too. It's like George would be like, you missed the point. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that. God, damn mouse would work. Ed's saying Louvre. Robert's saying Louvre. Bonnie's saying Louvre. Mark saying Dawn of the Dead is classic nostalgia. Yes. John says, I do prefer the green lettering. I do too. That may be coming up here in just a second. Larry says the 16mm version of this poster is the only poster that I have framed because I got it in a trade framed. Oh, wow. I didn't know you didn't have I figured you'd have something framed. But yeah, I got mine framed over there too. That may be coming up here in just a little bit. Steven says, definitely the Louvre for me. The yellow letters may pop a little more, but I love the red letters. Sadly, I lost this poster in a flood. Hopefully we'll get it back one day. That sucks. I fear floods, fires, anything like that for a lot of this stuff. It's like my worst nightmare. Jeff says Louvre, but I like the green lettering better. Yeah, okay, we may just go ahead and just put both of those in the Louvre right now. Because I got both. Here, let me, here we go. Alright, so that's an easy, we'll go ahead and just put that right at the front there. I don't think it gets more iconic than that. Now the green lettering, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to it. We'll talk to it. Because it is slightly different. I do prefer it. But I guess I'll go ahead and just put it in there. We'll go ahead and... Do you guys prefer the green or the red? Let me see if I can... I'll go ahead and pull up the green as well so we can get a good look at that. And we can all take a vote on that and see which one goes in front. I guess that's the way we'll do it. If I can find it there. There we go. Yeah, I do love this one. This is the one that I've gotten signed by George and Christine and Tom and all the main cast, and this is the one that I do have framed. That's like right at the head of my staircase over here. Like that's the first thing you see when you're coming up to my room is this poster. I love this poster. This was one of my like dreams one day. This is probably the most I've spent on any like Romero collectible either. These are pretty rare, pretty hard to find, original. I won't say how much I spent on it, but I had a little extra money at the time, and I had always wanted one. So, but yes, this would be at the top, at the tippy top for me. Like this is just, I don't know what it is about the green lettering. The pink is a little more pink. I don't know. I just love the color contrast on this one. Like the red is great, and that's that's the one everybody knows and loves. It's been on everything forever, but just something about this one, I absolutely love it. So. Mark saying green and print on some chocolate. Okay. Robert saying green is better. Your gut says green. I think we're all in agreement here. Jeff saying for me the green lettering speaks zombies. That's true. That's a good way to look at it too. Although I guess the red would be more of the blood aspect. I don't know. God, I'm fucking mighty. Man, nothing's working. Granny saying the green is my number 2 most wanted Grail poster next to Sleepaway Camp 2. Yeah, they're hard to find, and when you do find them, they're pretty expensive. John saying the green is first run, right? Yeah, the green was the original. That's why they're harder to find. They're rarer. They weren't as in production as the red ones. So, yeah, that was the first design of this poster was with the green. Stezio says, as an artist, the green letters and the gradient sky is a better layout. There you go. I knew it was more pleasing to the eye. Mark says the green letters do remind me of Disney's zombies. Well, Steven says also the Louvre for me as well. For some reason, it looks yellow on my phone. Maybe I'm going blind. Maybe you're a little colorblind, but either way, I think we're all in agreement that we got to put this one. Got to put this one in the Louvre as well. So we'll go ahead and skip on through. I don't know. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, where were we here? Let me go back. I think we're at Martin Summers. All right. So Martin UK quad poster. I actually like this poster. I actually have this one. And I kind of dig. I mean, it's pretty similar to the white one. I mean, outside of the advertisement, of course, it's the quad poster. But, the skeleton hands, I mean, it is what it is. But I do think it's a little more aesthetically appealing to look at. So this one would be an easy frame it for me, I think. Now, of all the Martin ones, I would probably go with the tie poster personally. But what do you guys think about this one? I mean, again, it's very plain, very simplistic. I think this is the one. Is this the one that actually? No, maybe another one that I'm thinking of, where it's misspells Tom Savini's name in the original one, if I remember correctly. What do you guys think about this one? Where do we put this one? Because I think we put where did we put the other one? So the white Martin poster, it's in Frame It. So would you guys frame this one as well? What are you guys saying? Grindy says, roll this one. I hate the skeleton hands. Okay. I can totally get behind that too. The skeleton hands is a little corny. But, they're trying something here. That's the thing with Martin too. Martin's such a weird... It's such a different type of vampire film. I don't think anybody really knew how to... I think, like I said, the best way that I've ever seen anybody promote it and market it is with the razor blade. The razor blade with the fangs on it says "Made in the USA." I think that just perfectly captures what that movie's about. but I don't think at the time, especially, a lot of distributors really knew how to promote Martin. I mean, if you notice, interestingly enough, if you notice, Martin is the first of Romero's films that actually has George's name at the top. Is George A. Romero's Martin. That's a Richard Rubinstein thing. Richard Rubinstein was smart enough to know, oh, Romero is, the director of this cult classic film, Night of the Living Dead. Let's use that to our advantage. So if you notice in a lot of the marketing stuff for Martin, it's the first time you see George A. Romero's Martin. You didn't see it in The Crazies or Hungry Wives. Could you imagine that shit? George A. Romero's Hungry Wives. But anyway, so we got one. Roll it up. Jeff says the skeleton hands make this poster for me. Okay, so we got fans of the hands, and some people not so much. John says no vanilla poster. It did have a small Pittsburgh theatrical release for about a week. Yeah, I didn't know which poster to really use for that one. The Affair is in here somewhere. And I know when it was re-released years later, there's some different artwork and stuff for that. But I just said, fuck it. I got 30 to go through here. I was like, we can do other, because I mean, trust me, if I wanted to go through all the ones from like overseas and stuff for Dawn and Day and all that, like forget about it, we'd be here forever. But yeah, no, I just went with The Affair for vanilla, which I have hanging above my head right now, actually. Cesio says frame it. Mark says what's Martin about and who's starring in it? Also frame it. There you go. IMDb it, sir. I could go on about Martin for a while, and we don't want to do that. Robert's saying that poster's killer. Frame it. Jeff's saying frame it. John says tack it. I like it better than the other, but it's a bit lazy and not indicative of the movie. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think most of you guys frame it, says Bonnie. Synth says, yeah, the skeleton hands don't work with the whole vibe of the movie. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Ed's saying tack Martin, but again, what movie is this poster trying to sell? Yeah. Again, I really dig the British quad posters. It also helps that it's in black. I will also frame this one as well, says Steven. All right. So I think we're pretty much in agreement here. We're going to frame this one. Jimmy G, what's up, man? It's been a while. Hope you've been doing well, sir. It says the skeleton hands give me creep show vibes. Yeah, that's a good point. Very creep show-esque, that's for sure. Hope you're doing well, man. It's good seeing you again. Larry says Louvre. It helps. Okay, it helps that I have it signed by Romero, Savini, Amplis, Forrest, and Gornick. The signatures pop in that black negative space. That is a good point too. Yeah. As long as they're not using a black marker, that's always an issue. Sometimes if you don't say anything, they'll just sign it. Some people will just sign it in a black marker and say fuck it. Okay, so we got one for the Louvre here, but I think pretty much unanimous frame it for this one. So we'll go ahead and put this one in a frame. Call it a day. Put him right next to the other Martin poster. I think that's the thing with Martin too. There's never been a great Martin poster or artwork, but he deserves it. Should. And all right. So speaking of, there's always vanilla. The Affair. Again, another bad attempt to promote and market a film that nobody knew how to promote or market. Or maybe not nobody, but Lee Hessel certainly didn't at the time. The Affair, aka There's Always Vanilla. Yeah, I don't think this one's gonna take long. I'm already kind of with. I'm with you, John. Burn it. Like I said, I have it hanging above my head right now, and I remember Larry selling this on eBay a couple of years ago, signed by George. And I remember being so close to pulling the trigger on that motherfucker a couple of times. This is before I even really knew Larry. But I remember seeing it on eBay every time, and I was always like, I really want it. because it's signed by George, and it's, There's Always Vanilla. I love There's Always Vanilla, but I fucking hate that poster. It's so, like, the image that they use in it, it has nothing to do with the fucking movie. The name really has nothing to do with the movie. Yeah, so I'm with you. I'd burn it, roll it. Roll it, says Robert. Grindy says, I love the artwork of Judith on both sides of the tree and Ray sitting in the tree. Yeah, that's the far better artwork for sure. Yeah, 100%. Jeff says, just hide it. Just get just don't even put it out. Ed's saying, roll the affair and throw it afar. That's a good way to put it. Mark says, kindergarten art, roll it. There you go. John says, I would have loved to have been there to see and hear George's reaction to signing it. Yeah, that would have been interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah, Russ Myers, that's there you go. Steven says, classy porno. Sorry to say, roll it. Yeah, I think this is pretty unanimous here. Roll it up. Roll it up. It's like that scene out of National Lampoon's Vacation. Roll them up. All right, let me go and... All right, we're going to roll this sucker up and put it right next to Two Evil Eyes. Actually, this will probably go right here next to Hungry Wives. Two poor attempts to market one of Romero's films, and just in the worst possible ways. Awful, awful stuff. Larry says, roll it, but I do have it signed by every cast member. I traded this poster you saw me selling with other posters from my 35mm printer Night of the Living Dead. Very cool. Yeah, man, I was this close. Every time I'd pass it, I'd see it. I'd be like, man, I love that movie, and I want that poster, and it's signed by George, and I was like, I just can't do it, because I can't stand that fucking poster. But I did get a reproduction made just so I could hang it on my fucking ceiling just to have it, just because I love vanilla that much. But I do hate that poster. So yeah, roll that sucker up. All right, let's try to move through some of these a little faster. Night of the Living Dead, U.S. poster. I mean, maybe one of the most iconic posters in horror film history. Like, this is just the perfect poster art, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think this is going to take... somebody's really going to have to argue with me, but I think this is just perfect t-shirt art. Like, it's the perfect one-sheet poster to get anybody into a theater to see They Won't Stay Dead. Like, just at the top there, and you got all the zombies and the ghouls and the fucking, you got Ben and all the characters. I mean, it's just, you're walking, so think about it, 1968, you're walking down the street, you pass a theater, you see this hanging up, now playing, you're instantly like, wow, I got to see what the hell this is. Like, yeah, this is, 100%. Anybody want to make an argument against this? I would love to hear it. Mark is like, I don't know, for any wrestling fans, do you guys remember the Art Donovan when he was like the guest commentator for, I think it was King of the Ring 94. He was like a guest commentator, and he didn't know anything about wrestling, so the only thing he would ever chime in with is when a wrestler would be coming down, he would just say, hey, how much does this fella weigh? That's kind of Mark right now. It's like, who the hell starred in this fucking movie? Ray Lane and Judith Ridley are the two stars of The Affair. Or There's Always Vanilla. You'll have better luck finding it as There's Always Vanilla than you will The Affair. But anyway, let's get back to Night of the Living Dead. Robert's saying Louvre. Stezio says Louvre had it framed, but now that it's signed, I got a custom frame made. Absolutely. Mark says Louvre. Stuka says museum. He won't say the Louvre, but he will say museum. So it belongs in a museum. It's saying Louvre. Absolutely. And I'm fucking Frozen again. There we go. Larry says, This Night of the Living Dead is a classic for the Louvre. I'm happy to own one that I got at a fantastic price, $675 in 2019. That's actually a really good price for it, believe it or not. I don't own an original one sheet of Night, but I would love to have one. But yeah, $675 is a pretty good price for an original, for sure. Jeff says, Louvre. Here we go. John says, gotta be honest, Night's iconic, but as art to sell the film, frame it. Wow, that's a hot take from John. Everybody else is saying put that motherfucker in the Louvre. And then John flies in and says, just frame it. Okay, all right. I respect your opinion, but I think you've been drastically outvoted here. Bonnie says Louvre. Steven says definitely the Louvre, a classic poster for a classic film. I agree. Interesting take from John, though. Interesting take. I did not expect that. I would think John would just be like, yeah, make that, the first thing you see when you walk into the Louvre. But interesting. Okay. All right. I respect that. All right. Let me go back. But yeah, this one's got to go in the Louvre. I'll put this right here next to Dawn, in my opinion. It's right up there with it. Yeah, since this classic poster with nudity, it's got to go in the Louvre. There you go. You can't argue with that. Can't argue with that one. All right. Next one up, Land of the Dead theatrical poster. I'm personally not a big fan of this poster art. I've always talked about how much I love the poster art with the two, reviews on there from Hollywood Reporter and Variety. That one's a rare one. You don't see many of those out and about in the wild too often. I'm lucky to have one, but yeah, this actual poster. I mean, it's actually. The thing I don't like about this poster, and it's a tiny little thing, and unless you're like a collector and you get stuff signed and shit, it probably doesn't bother you too much. But the fact that like George's autograph is just a part of the poster drives me insane. Like I would never want to get this poster to get it signed because I would always know that. First, it would be weird, like if you did get it signed by George, to have him sign it again, so it just was like he signed it twice. The whole idea of them including his signature on the actual poster itself, like not his actual signature, but just an image of his signature on the poster, always drove me insane. So just for that fact alone, never been a big fan of this poster art. I would roll it up and put it in the corner, and that's probably where it would stay. So I would roll this one for sure. Larry's saying roll it. I agree. Jeff saying roll it. John says, I actually think Night's best poster is the 4K Japanese one and the original UK one, but I'm not going to argue Louvre status. It was just Continental being lazy. Well, I mean, it worked, man. It's an iconic poster. But I don't know. I've always loved it. Like I said, it's perfect T-shirt artwork. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I love it. It's in Roland. I love the hand on the fence better. Okay, that one's coming up here in a minute. So we got mostly roll it. Here comes Robert. Robert, we're gonna defend his movie here. Louvre, I have this. I knew you were going with Louvre on this one. I think you'll be outvoted on this one, but I appreciate you fighting the good fight on it. Bonnie says roll it up. John says, I'd like it more if the color wasn't so green, brown, drab. Yeah, again, it goes back to just like kind of everything kind of had that same look back in the day in early to mid 2000s like this. I'm trying to remember what there's another movie, the color scheme looks exactly like this that came out right around that same time. Yeah, Larry, like that always drove me crazy. Like when this poster came out, yeah, the painted or the printed autograph thing is weird. Always drove me crazy because it's just like, then I don't want to get anybody else to sign it because it would just be Like I would always know that's not a real signature. Like if I'm gonna get the guys from Land of the Dead to sign anything, it would be the hand on the fence or the two review the double-sided poster, anything. This one just always drove me crazy like that. I don't know why. Steven says definitely a frame it. I also like the promo poster, but the coloring really helps sell this poster for me. Okay, so we gotta lube and we gotta frame it, but I think for the most part everybody's going to roll. Anybody want to make an argument? We don't have a lot in the thumbtack category. I don't even know if I would. Yeah, I would say. I'll tell you what, just for you, Robert. I know how much you love Land of the Dead, and I love it too. I like it too. All right. Well, we'll put this one in the thumbtack category. This is one you can just tack it up on your wall, and I really want to put it and roll it up, but just for you, Robert, just for you, I will stand up and have your back on this one, my man. We'll just put this one in the thumbtack category. Ed saying, you thinking of the Undead poster from Australia? That could be it. Like I said, everything just kind of looked the same back in the day. Nah, I don't know. Wasn't never crazy about it. All right. Up next, we have. Okay, so here is the. This is the French Bruiser poster. We were talking about earlier. That's actually included on that 4K from Indicator. I'm not gonna bring it down right now. I already got the other one down, but this one I like a little better than the U.S. Bruiser poster, but not a ton more. At least it's got like the split personality aspect to it. It's a little more, I don't know, rugged, I guess would be the word for it. A little more raw feeling than just the white and the guy with the knife and the coat, and it looks like I don't know. But yeah, I if anything, I'd probably thumbtack this one. Just because I'm such a fan of Bruiser, I would want something up from it on the wall somewhere. So this would be a thumbtack for me. Jeff's saying roll it. Okay, yeah. I mean, like I said, there's just not a lot of Bruiser stuff out there in terms of promotional, like one sheets or posters or anything like that. There's just not a lot to pick from. So I mean, I guess of all the stuff that's out there, this is probably the best. But I don't love it, Larry says, this Bruiser is better than the U.S. image. I would thumbtack this. I would go thumbtack on this one. John says, I'd tack it. It's a bit intriguing. It says, I'm borderline tack or frame for the French Bruiser. I think thumbtack makes sense. Like I said, I love Bruiser enough. I'd thumbtack it to the wall. Robert says, tack it. Bonnie says, roll it up. Yeah. We'll just keep this moving. I'll go ahead. I'll thumbtack this sucker up. We'll go ahead and put that on the wall. Thumbtacks will do. All right. Now, we're talking about the Creep Show poster earlier. This is the poster that I would put in the loop. This is the German Creep Show poster. And I think this perfectly captures the movie, what the movie is. You got, the boy reading the comic in the bed, and the creep outside the window. It looks like a comic book. It looks like the cover of the comic book. I mean, I think, I don't know why they didn't go with something like this in the U.S. Like, why not just make the cover of the actual comic book go with something like that? instead of, you know, the ticket booth thing, you know. This is one of my favorite this is my favorite creep show poster, easily. Um, and I think the cool thing there in the back, if you can see, the boy has the posters on the wall of Salem's Lot, and in the U.S., if you see the creep show comic book, the cover, it's a Dawn of the Dead poster, but since this is Germany, it's got the zombie poster in the back. I thought that was pretty cool, nice little touch. But I love this. I love this poster. To me, this is a Louvre. Like, this is what the creep show poster should have been, in my opinion, in the U.S. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm putting it in the Louvre. What do you guys think? Okay, talking about the Bruiser poster. Steven says better than the Lifetime poster, but it looks kind of like Eric Stoltz from Mask. Yeah, a little bit, doesn't it? This is a thumbtack for me. Okay, so you're right in line there. John says Louvre this one too. I'm with you. Louvre it. Put it in the Louvre. Frame it up. Jeff says awesome. Stuka says this looks like a Goosebumps book. A little bit, but you know, it's fucking creep show, man. Bonnie says frame it. All right. Ed says I agree. Let's Louvre this version of creep show. A couple people with me. Jeff says I have autographed and matted and framed. So I guess that's a vote for frame. Definitely at least a frame. I say Louvre, but Robert's saying frame it. Bonnie says frame it. Me, John, we say Louvre. Ed says Louvre. So we got a tie here. We got 3 frames, 3 Louvres. All right, next one's going to be the tiebreaker. Whoever comments next is going to be the ultimate tiebreaker here. But I to me, like, this is what the creep show poster should look like in my brain. This would be what a creep show poster should look like. Anybody would chime in? Steven says, wow, the kid looks good, but the creep looks bad. Unfortunately, can't put this over the U.S. poster. I'll go with the frame to keep the piece. Okay. Steven says frame. Larry says, I think the creep show advanced U.S. poster uses this Cayman art is the best for that movie. Louvre material. Okay. Frame. Stesio says frame. Robert changes his vote. Robert said frame. Now he says Louvre. Yeah, I think I got to do it. I got to put this sucker in the Louvre. If we put the U.S. version in, this deserves to go in as well, I think. I think it has to. It just to me, it just encompasses the film a little better than the U.S. version. Just my opinion. All right. Few more here. We got the Knight Riders poster. Now, this one actually does look like a piece of art. Me and Larry actually talked about, I think Larry came close to actually buying the actual artwork, if I remember correctly, that's used for this. This is one, I don't, like, this one's weird because I don't know if it really says much about what the movie is or what the movie's about. To me, it looks a little more science fiction-y. It looks like something, it looks like the Road Warrior. It looks like Mad Max or something like that. But I do love this artwork. I would at least frame it. At least on this one. Since says that poster is cool, but I like the American Creepshow poster since it was the poster I had in the theater when I went to see it in 1982. Great memories. Okay, so a little nostalgia vote there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I get it. I get it why people love that poster, but I just prefer the comic book cover used as a poster. But yeah. Stezio says Boris. Yeah, frame it. Okay. Mark says hell yes, Louvre. Okay, all right. So we got one for frame, one for Louvre here. John says frame it. It would look great as an NES game. Yeah, that's a good point. Doesn't sell the movie as well as the other one. That's true too. Like I said, it's a little confusing. I think people would see this and they're like, "What the hell is this movie about? Is it a post-apocalyptic, like sci-fi action movie, or what the hell is this thing?" But I do love the artwork, though. I mean, it is a beautiful piece of work. So frame it. Jeff says Louvre. Okay, hot take from Robert. Roll it. He says roll it up. I think it looks silly. Okay. I got you. Mark says a decent work of art. Bonnie says frame it. Bonnie actually says fancy frame, actually. Yeah, gotta be a nice frame. It's saying Lube Knight Riders, Eric Bischoff used this art for one of his podcasts with his face. Yeah, I remember that, actually. I do remember that. That's funny. Larry says this Knight Riders artwork is currently on eBay for $1 million. Frame it because I love the film. Yeah. $1 million. So if anybody wants the actual artwork used for this poster, if you got $1 million, if you got an extra $1 million laying around, it can be yours on eBay right now. That's crazy. That's pretty insane. Steven says it's not a bad poster, but I agree that it doesn't do a great job of selling the movie. I'll go with frame for the history. So I think frame is fair. Frame is fair. I do love the artwork, but in terms of selling the film and actually what the movie is actually about, I think it is a little misleading or confusing, if nothing else. But yeah, I definitely think it deserves to be up here in the frame it section. That's for sure. Yeah, good point, Robert. That's insane. You can buy Dead Reckoning for less than that. Yeah. This is true. Are you talking about the one I can't remember. Did they do one for Knights? Did they actually do one for Knights, or is that I'm trying to remember if that, I can't remember, but now you got me thinking if I've seen that or not. All right. Up next, our first Day of the Dead poster, which me and Grande did the Day of the Dead posters when we did our Day of the Dead retrospective, but I just want to throw a couple of these in here because these are some of the better or worse, however you want to look at it, posters. This is the UK quad poster, and I just want to throw this in here just so I can just say this is one of the worst goddamn posters I've ever seen. Why they would use just a row, it's like a row of masks. It's like they just went into Savini's room and was just like, hey, let's take a picture of these masks and use it for the poster art for this movie. Awful. This is one of the worst posters of any Romero film, in my opinion. There's some really bad ones for Day, actually. Not just this one, but there's a couple that are pretty damn bad. I think the Spanish one kind of looks silly because it's got beef treats on the front, and he's just kind of like, hey, kind of, I don't know, it just looks like, I don't know, like a sitcom or something. I'm like, what the hell is this? But yeah, I had to include this one just to point out how awful it is once again. John says, this Day one is kind of creepy, but it's real lazy. Roll it. Yeah, I don't even know if it's creepy. It just looks, I don't know, maybe some people thought it was like some scene from the movie. But to me, it just looks like a bunch of, shitty Halloween masks lined up and taken, Stezio says, seriously, roll then toss. Absolutely, not a fan of this one at all. Never have been. Jeff says roll. Bonnie says roll. Larry says, this Day UK quad is odd, but I do like it somehow. Thumbtack. Okay, so Larry's got a thumbtack in there. He'll thumbtack it. Just odd curiosity, I guess. It says roll every day, twice on Sunday. So yeah, this is easy roll for me. Never been a fan of that one. All right. A few more here. Almost at 3 hours. Holy shit. These are taking way longer than I thought they were. I was like 30. I don't know if that's going to be enough. It's like we're 2 hours in. I'm like, holy shit. So let's roll through these real quick. German Zombie. Dawn of the Dead poster. This is one that I'll say frame on this one because I've always been a big fan of this poster art for some reason. It's simple. But the thing that kind of sets it over the top for me is it's got the four main characters, our four heroes down in the bottom corner there, and I've always thought that was kind of cool. And I'm kind of a sucker for anything Dawn of the Dead that includes, the four main cast members on the artwork. So this is at least a frame it for me. I've always kind of liked this one. So what are you guys saying on this one? The German Zombie poster. Since says it's bad enough the famous press photo had those awful masks with George, and then the movie poster has it. Yeah, like I said, there was a lot of bad promotional shit behind Day of the Dead for sure. So Steven says, I'm sorry, this is a roll it. Not even the British quad can save it. Roll it and give it away for spending $5 on hard candy. There you go. John says, frame it. It's pretty good. I agree. Robert says, frame it. Eerie Guts says, frame it. Have this signed by George. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah. This is another one of those posters. Like I don't own this one, but this is one that I've always had my eye on because I've always been a fan because, like I said, of the four main cast and stuff. So this is one that's definitely on my list of, and talking about and doing this show and all this has kind of given me the urge to kind of buy some posters soon. So if I do, I'm definitely getting that Italian Crazies poster and this German Zombie poster for sure. That's pretty cool, man. Having anything signed by George is pretty awesome. Pretty lucky. I know a lot of people that missed out on that. Here, see, Synth says rolling to a massive joint and smoke. Okay, so Synth's not a fan of this one. Okay, all right. Ed's saying thumbtack German Zombie. Okay, Jeff says agree. Frame. Stesio says thumbtack. Looks like a flea market pirate cover in a slim case. Fair. That's a fair assessment. Stuka says roll. Okay. Bonnie says thumbtack. Steven says this is a thumbtack for me, not the best design. Looks like it's unfinished. Okay. And Larry says thumbtack. German Zombie poster. All right. Well, I wanted to frame it, but I will listen to the majority here. I'll listen to the majority, and I will go ahead and just thumbtack this one. But I do, like I said, I do like the main four characters down at the bottom there. So I'm a bit of a sucker for that, I'll admit. All right. I think there's a few more here. Dark Half poster. What do you guys think? I don't like this poster at all, to be honest with you. This is a roll it up for me. Never been a big fan of this poster. Never liked the artwork. Timothy Hutton's face, it just kind of looks like the Man in the Moon or something to me. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't do much to sell the movie to me whatsoever. So yeah, never been a big fan of this artwork. This is a roll it up for me. What do you guys say? Let me see here. John says, I'd frame Dark Half. Like the design, like the colors. I will say, like, the purple and the black with, the green lettering. Not, yeah, I mean, the colors do pop a little bit, but I don't know. It just seems kind of uninspired. For my taste, for my liking at least. Like I said, I like weird fucking Italian shit, so. Jeff with a vomit face. That's not good. I'm gonna take that as a roll it. Stesio says frame. Criminally underrated film. Yeah, I mean the film itself. I mean, I do think the film is a little underrated, but I'm just in terms of the poster artwork. I just feel like there's got to be something better than that they could have done with that. Larry says roll Dark Half. Robert says tack it up. Just put the thumbtacks in it. It says roll. What does it exactly say? What does it say up there at the top? I can't quite see it. There are very good reasons to be afraid of the dark. Yeah, I don't know. They were trying, I guess. Bonnie says thumbtack. Oh, you've never seen Dark Half, Stukas. Interesting. Well, you can judge the poster. You can tell me if the poster makes you want to see it. Apparently, it has, and the movie's been out for 30 years or whatever. You haven't seen it yet, so. Yuri says, I love the color and the concept of that poster, but it doesn't sell the movie. Roll it up. Steven says, cool poster. Definitely a frame it for me. I like the meanness of the art. Okay. So I think, yeah, bad marketing by Orion, Jeff. That's a good point. Robert says, I've never seen The Dark Half either. That's why I'm excited for the new 4K coming out. Well, I mean, they just went up for sale, Vinegar Syndrome site. They'll probably, I don't know when they're doing another sale, but they'll probably be available coming up soon. But yeah, they're available now. So if you plan on getting that 4K, definitely take advantage of them while they're on sale before they run out. I don't know how many they have left, but anyway, I think Dark Half, well, I would roll it because I'm not a fan of it, but it's obviously pretty split. I think thumbtacks would probably be sufficient for a Dark Half poster. Yeah, I don't think I could put it in the same categories as like Monkey Shines or Knight Riders or Martin or that zombie poster that I absolutely love. Yeah, I would say I could see just tacking this sucker up to the wall and calling it a day. So John says, I'm only judging the art and if it sells the movie. If I were to add my thoughts on the movie, it would be a lot different. There you go. Yeah, I'm just trying to judge the art here. So, movie itself, it is what it is. Up next, Survival of the Dead. What do you guys think? Should we just go ahead and roll this up and move on to the next one? Talk about uninspired. Like, this is one of the most uninspired Romero posters out there. Doesn't tell you anything about the movie. It's pretty straightforward. Again, it just looks like everything else that's ever come out around this time. And I don't know who did the review up here at the top. 5 stars, arguably one of the best in the Of the Dead series. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Let's Eerie Guts. Oof, roll. I agree, Colin. Okay, see, John's surprising me tonight. John says he'd actually tack it. He'd put it up. Okay. Anybody want to argue against me? Because I'm ready to roll it up and move on. But anybody? Ed says survival doesn't even survive a roll. Robert. Okay, Robert says frame it. Okay. Bonnie wants to tack it up. Okay, maybe I'm missing. I do not like that artwork whatsoever. Um, Never have. Of the last three, Land, Survival, and Diary, this is definitely my least favorite. Um, Jeff says I've never seen this. Roll it. Larry says I say Survival, but I'll frame mine because I have it signed by George. So are you saying roll? Oh, sir, the movie itself. Okay. Um, Okay. All right, John. All right, John said maybe because I think the girl's pretty cute, even as a zombie, even as a horse riding zombie. All right, Robert. All right, Robert changed his mind. Said tack it. All right. Well, I thought we were gonna roll this sucker up, and move on, but apparently you guys are bigger fans of this poster than I thought. Um. All right. We'll tack it up. I can get the damn thing back up here. Here we go. All right, we'll tack it up. We'll put her up there right next to the Dark Half and the German zombie. That was interesting. I didn't know. Okay. I didn't know you guys loved that poster so much. Jesus Christ, Steven. Are you trolling? Steven says Louvre, maybe a better poster than the movie. I respect your opinion, but I think it looks nice and creepy. A cool looking poster. Okay, fuck me, I'm wrong. Jesus. Larry says I say roll, but frame mine because it's signed. There you go. Stuka says it looks like a paperback cover. Yeah, I don't know. It never did anything for me. It was always a little uninspiring to me, but all right. Well, sorry, Steven. Sorry. But all right, we'll put that one, we'll tack that one up. It's up so we can look at it whenever we want. That's all that matters. Okay, so we've already done that one. Okay, the Day of the Dead original one sheet. Now you guys may think I'm crazy for this one, but I've never been a big fan of this poster either. I love the colors on it, the light blue and all that, but again, for the time, I feel like it was trying to recreate what Dawn had done with that poster, and I get it. I mean, it's the sequel to Dawn or whatnot, and they were trying to play on that, try to bank on that a little bit. But I've never loved this artwork. I've always much preferred the VHS video store poster with Bub and the zombies in the background. I've always, to me, like, that's the best Day of the Dead poster to me. The theatrical poster, it just kind of, especially when you look at, the poster for Return of the Living Dead, which is kind of, they always get pitted together because they came out right around the same time, the same year. And you look at Return of the Living Dead and you're like, wow, that looks like the most badass fucking zombie movie ever made. And then this Day of the Dead poster, it just kind of looks like, it's like what, it's like what Mark was saying earlier. It's kind of kindergartenish. I don't know, like the little moon and the little sun, and I don't know. I've never been a big fan of it. And I know you guys may think I'm crazy, but what do you guys think about what are you guys' thoughts on the Day of the Dead one sheet? John says tack day. Okay, thumbtack. That's probably about what I would do with it. I would at least thumbtack it. Not rotten, but I hate the font, hate the look of the drawn zombie. Colors look too fake and comic bookish, but I really love the idea of the design. And another thing that bothers me is the dusty sand zombie that's in the logo as well. That always, to me, just makes this movie look like a mummy movie more so than a zombie movie. Like, that looks more like a mummy, and I don't know why I just never understood this poster art. Robert says tack it. Stezio says day frame. Got this t-shirt opening day, first showing at the theater. Awesome. Hey, that's fucking cool as shit. I'm envious of that, but the poster art, not too crazy. Not too crazy about it. Bonnie says tack it. Larry says that's the advanced US poster. I would frame it. Okay, so there's a framing on there. Yeah, Yeah, I noticed that when I was doing it. It's got the little thing at the bottom that says coming soon to a theater. Now, if I actually had this one specifically, yeah, this would. I mean, obviously, it would be definitely framed up and on my wall, but since I was used to this one, since it's on the album, yeah, that's true. John says, yes, I'd absolutely frame or lube the VHS artwork. Yep, me too. Me too. That's definitely, that would be a lube for me because it traumatized me as a child. Ed says, roll that day. Oh, he just says, roll it up. Too similar to the Dawn poster, plus the zombie head looks like crap. 100% agree. Steven says, unfortunately, Attack poster. Great movie and a mediocre poster. Just the opposite of Survival of the Dead. Call it like that one. I wouldn't put it that way, Steven, but I see what you're saying. Jeff says, lube. I love the tagline. The VHS with Bub is awesome too, but it gives away the surprise. Okay. I like that take. Yeah, I've always thought about that, Robert. Yeah, you're right. It's totally a mummy. Colin agrees. Agree about the mummy. I always thought that. I've always thought that. It looks more like a mummy than a zombie. Since it partially references the head wounds on the infamous Dawn airport zombie. Well, on the poster, what are you talking about, Synth? So you may still be behind a little bit. Jeff says I got this directly from UFD in New York City along with the press kit. Wow, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty damn cool. Yeah, I think Thumbtack makes the most sense for this one. Like I said, if this was the video store poster, this would be an easy lube for me, just because I have a childhood connection to it. Is the first thing that I saw that fucking traumatized me at a video store. But this one, I don't know. I think it's just, I wouldn't roll it up, but I wouldn't, frame it, or definitely wouldn't put it in the lube. That's for sure. Yeah, that's a good point too, John. Looks a lot like the yellow return. Yeah, the cadaver zombie. That's a good point too. It does look a lot like that. Of course, it's a total accident. Yeah. All right, few more here. Up next, the UK British quad poster for Creepshow. I even like this poster a lot more than the US one sheet design. I think this, it almost looks like a weird mix of Night of the Living Dead and Creepshow, but I still think it's still more interesting to look at than the US poster. So this to me is probably, I don't love it. I mean, I'm not gonna, I wouldn't put it in the Louvre, probably wouldn't frame it. This is probably a Thumbtack for me. I like it, don't love it, but I would totally be cool with it on my wall. That's basically how I would break it down. So yeah, for me, this is another Thumbtack poster. What do you guys say? Larry says, yeah, the day poster is for sure the lube. Yeah. Since says it's a bald zombie with face mangling, loosely resembling the Dawn. But yeah, that's true. It is very reminiscent to the Dawn poster zombie for sure. But to me, it just looks like a mummy, a dusty mummy. Okay, so John's saying frame it. It's cool, but I never liked that shade of blue and green together. Okay, so we got to frame it. Larry says Creepshow is Thumbtack. Look at that. Jeff's figured out the Thumbtack Thumbtack emoji. Perfect. Robert says roll up the creep's face looks stupid to me. Okay, that's one way to look at it. It does kind of look a little goofy. Since this is very Tales from the Crypt comic. Yeah, good point. Bonnie's saying frame it. Ed saying tack it. Steven says, this is definitely a frame for me. The Creep is cooler looking on the US, but this poster has a Boris Karloff vibe to it. That's true. I dig the overall look. Okay, so we got another frame. So it's either frame or thumbtack. I say thumbtack on this one. What the hell? I'll give it some love. We'll go ahead and frame that one up too. A lot of love for the Creepshow posters here. You guys like Creepshow posters? All right, few more, and then we're done. I can get out of here. 3 hours and 20 minutes in the sucker. This took longer than I thought. All right, Italian zombie poster from Titanus, which is very similar to the U.S. version with just the Dawn zombie in the background. I don't know. I've always kind of dug this one. I always kind of liked the looks of the Italian play, but it's there's not much to it. It's very similar to the U.S. version. Not much new to look at. Jeff's already saying roll it. I don't know if I would roll it. I wouldn't go out of my way to I don't know. Maybe I would roll this one. I'd like to have it because it's Dawn, of course, but yeah, kind of John saying tack this one. Too gray for me. Yeah, it doesn't really pop. There's not a lot, doesn't do much for me. Robert says roll it. I hate the black and white. Yeah, it does kind of give newspaper ad vibes, Larry says, not a fan of this Italian Dawn poster. Roll it. I have mine rolled already. There you go. Ed saying tack it up. Stezio saying roll. It's putting him to sleep, which we're past midnight here, past 1 a.m. over on the East Coast. So. Bonnie saying tack it up. Steven says, not good. Respect the history, but this looks like a bad knockoff. Thumbtack only because it's Dawn. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. John says, I do want to say I would also move the German blue one. I love how it looks. I don't think I put that one on here. All right, let's keep this moving. I'll thumbtack this one. You know what? Fuck it. I'll just roll it up. I just got to roll it up and just keep it moving here. It'd be nice to have, but it's nothing it's nothing you really want to show off, I guess. So we'll just roll that one up. All right. All right, final two here. Here's the alternate Land of the Dead, and I do like this one a little better than the other one. Still don't love it, but it is better than the actual theatrical. Like I said, my favorite Land is the one with the 2 reviews on it, just because I have a sentimental connection to it, because that was the poster that was at the theater the night that I saw it on opening night. But at least this one's got a different tone to it. But still, there's not anything that's really going to... Like, I think if you're just a normal person at a theater and you see this poster and you're going to say, oh, wow, that looks like it might be a fun zombie movie. I think it's more indicative of what the vibe of the movie is. Where did we have... Where did we put... So we put the actual Land of the Dead poster in Thumbtack. I would put it... Thumbtack. I'd thumbtack this one. I think it's a little more, like I said, I like it a little more than the other one, but not enough to frame it. That's just me. Robert, you're the authority here. Robert says tack it. So that pretty, if Robert says tack it, we might as well just roll this fucker up and move on. Larry says, this land is better than the last, but still roll it. Okay. Kind of with you there. John says, tack land. I really like the design, but again, drab looking, grayish, etc. Yeah, it's just very, I don't know, just very digital looking. Very lifeless is the word for it. Jeff saying, roll it. Stezio saying, thumbtack. Yeah, let's thumbtack it. Let's just go ahead and tack this sucker up, because like I said, I like it better than the other Land of the Dead poster, but not enough to move it up a tier. So yeah, we're gonna do what Stezio says. We're just gonna go ahead and thumbtack that bad boy right there next to the other one. Yeah, Ed's saying borderline tacker frame. So, okay, he was on the borderline of frame, but I think, yeah, thumbtack makes most sense. And then last but not least, and you guys know I put the Italian version in the Louvre. I would still probably put this US version in the Louvre as well. The US theatrical one sheet of The Crazies. I just love this. I love the look. I love the look of the soldiers in the hazmat suits and the character. You know, you got Will McMillan and Lane Carroll on the cover, so you actually get your two main characters on the front. It just looks like a fun movie, and the tagline at the top is interesting. Why are the good people dying? I like that tag. I've always liked this artwork for I pretty much like anything Crazies. So I love the Italian one. It looks like I don't know, it just looks like something that would grab your attention, and this does as well. If I was at a movie theater and I saw a movie called The Crazies and this was the poster, like, sign me up. Like, I got to see what this is all about. Like, this looks crazy. So I would put this one in the Louvre, right next to the Italian poster. They're similar in ways, but I love this design and this look. Am I crazy here? Am I crazy? John says, I'd probably frame Crazies. I don't know why. Okay, so we got a frame. Stezio says custom frame. So we'll put that at the top of the frame section, I guess. Robert says tack, maybe frame. Okay. Synth, very pop art style. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Larry says OG Crazies is a frame it. Good, but not great. Okay. So everybody's saying frame it. Bonnie says frame it. Ed says Louvre. The U.S. Crazies. It does catch it is very eye-catching. The colors, the tagline, the fucking guy in the suits. Like, if you didn't know what this movie was about, it would to me, it would sell me on it. I'd be like, what is this movie? Like, this looks crazy. That's just me. Maybe it's just us, Ed. Maybe it's just us. Jeff says frame it. My favorite Crazies poster. Okay. Larry says I have the alternate version, codenamed Trixie, signed by Romero, framing that one too. Yeah, I mean that's an easy one. Even that alternate name is kind of cool. I don't know. Steven says ending with a classic, definitely the Louvre for me. An awesome looking poster that would brighten any space it would hang in. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. Steven gets it. Sid says lube and Louvre. All right. Yeah, Steven gets it. It's a poster that you would, if nothing else, you'd want it in a frame on your wall. Like, this is a poster that you could put in your living room, and it would be a conversation starter. Like, oh, what is that? I don't know. I love this poster. Maybe. I don't know. Steven says put it in the Louvre. I'm gonna listen to Steven and my instincts. I'm gonna put it right next to the other one, damn it. I just love those Crazies posters. So I'm putting it in the Louvre, damn it. All right, that's it. That is the entire list, and it's pretty evenly spread out looking at it. So, I mean, at the top, the cream of the crop, the 2 Dawn of the Dead posters, the original Night of the Living Dead US poster, the original Crazies US poster, the Italian poster for the Crazies, the original US poster for the Creep Show, and then the German Creep Show poster. Any changes you guys want to make on this one? Am I looking at this list? Does anything feel out of place to you guys? Just looking at it from a pure artwork standpoint, I mean, the artwork, literally the artwork for Night Riders is apparently going on eBay for what, an actual Monet would probably go for, or a Rembrandt or something like that. So maybe that does deserve to belong in the Louvre. I don't know. What do you guys think? Any changes you guys want to make? I know maybe the Diary of the Dead. Maybe we could move the Diary up. I don't know if it like the actual Diary of the Dead poster, not the original promotional whatever the hell that thing was. I don't know if it belongs in the same category as Hungry Wives, The Affair, the original Diary poster, Two Evil Eyes, that awful Day of the Dead UK quad poster. At least it's somewhat appealing, and it kind of gives you an idea of what the movie's about. I don't know. What do you guys think? Diary, thumbtack it? Yeah, Robert's saying Diary's out of place. I know you think so. Yeah, it is very much. It does feel like an Andy Warhol, that Crazies poster. I agree. Hell yeah, Steven. I knew you had my back on that one. Everybody else is just like, just frame it, frame it, frame it. I'm like, no, this belongs in a museum. I feel like Indiana Jones over here. Ed's saying this was fun. Should do a VHS bracket. I'm good with my. Hey, that's a good idea too. VHS cover art. It's a great idea. Oh, somebody's setting off sky flowers. Since those maniacs setting off loud fireworks in my neighborhood, did I miss something? Some significant date? Nah, 4th of July is right around the corner, so people are going to be shooting off the sky flowers. So that'll be fun for my dogs. But yeah, I think I'm gonna move the Diary poster up to at least the thumbtack. It doesn't need to be framed. It's not a work, classic work of art. But I think it gets the job done, and I think it does deserve to at least be on the wall. And I think after that, I think everything else is pretty much right where it needs to be on this list. So. Yeah, Monkey Shine, dude. Monkey Shines, it's simple, but it's iconic. Like, it's one that I remember. Like, it's something that, I don't know. It's just something, I remember it as a kid, like, seeing that cover, like that poster art, or just the VHS cover art. I've always liked that artwork, and pretty much everybody kind of agreed with me. So yeah, that at least goes into frame it. I just think it's one of it. Movie or not, like however you feel about the movie, but I just think the poster art is kind of one of the iconic 80s horror movie posters. I don't know, but all right. So there it is. There's the complete tier ranking. Some Jordan, not all of them. I could do this again at some point with some more posters, because there's plenty to choose from. But for the most part, this pretty much covers the gambit here. But yeah, VHS covers would be a good one to do next, actually. But yeah, there it is. Take a picture, and you can actually there's a link if you look it up. If you go to Tiermaker, If you want to do this on your own, tiermaker.com, and look up Romero movie posters, this should pop up and you can make your own tier list. And if you do that, share it. Share it with me. I'd be curious to see how you guys would have this ranked. But to me, this looks solid. This looks good. So I'm happy with it. Let me pop back in here and get all this shit off the screen. Stop the screen. Erie Guts says, how do you feel about the French Lenny Machete head poster? I know it's kind of random, but it used to spark my curiosity when I was younger, and finally ended up getting one later on. That's what I like too. And again, I could do another one of these with all kinds of these foreign posters. Holy shit! Everything was slowing down and freaking out on me. I'm trying to remove some of this stuff. But yeah, there's so many, especially Dawn. Like, there's so many Dawn posters from around the world that I could do. But I like that one. I like most Dawn stuff just because it's Dawn of the Dead. But yeah, that's a good one. I'm just making noise over here. But yeah, I'm 3.5 hours in, so I'm pretty worn out. But yeah, appreciate you guys. This was fun. Glad to be back on here. Glad to do something fun. But yeah, 3.5 hours in, I got work in the morning, so I had to get my happy ass out of here. Appreciate all you guys as always. Check out shop.alpharomero.store. There's a sale going on right now. $15 t-shirts, $13 mugs. I think it's like a 40% off everything right now. So definitely check it out. It's going to be going on for the next couple of days. So definitely check that out. Shop.alpharomero.store. And honestly, if there's anything like design-wise that you guys would be interested in or something you would buy, let me know. I can try to come up with something and throw it up there. I just kind of like, just random little if you know type of stuff. But yeah, check it out. Shop.alpharomero.store. Let's see here. But yeah, I'll be back next weekend. Don't know with what. Got a couple of people I'm going to try to get on here soon. Should be pretty fun. So looking to do that. But until then, you guys know the deal. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it, comment, all that good shit. All that good shit. Make it happen. But until next time, you guys have a great rest of the night, a great rest of the week. And as always, stay safe, but stay scared.